Give me one moment, folks. I'm just making sure the live setup is going on. Give us one moment, folks. We're about to set up the pre-show. Just have to fix the Facebook real quick. Okay. All right, folks, we are live and we are doing a pre-show to the upcoming Sacred Lavisa Sunday night podcast. So without further ado, let me just read you our little intro here. Make sure to check out the Sacred Lavisa Facebook page, follow it, and support our Sunday night shows. Also check out the Just Conspiracy YouTube channel by Jonathan Cross, the Where is Delilah YouTube channel, as well as the News for Us YouTube channel, as well as our other Facebook pages. All the links are in the descriptions. All right, so that being said, folks, we are going to start this and share our screen so that we can begin the pre-show, which will update everybody, get everybody caught up on the case leading up to the live. So let's begin.
Everybody in the system appears to be in on it. When 31 judges recuse themselves from a case, you have a serious, serious problem.
And other than that, we're going to, the meeting is this afternoon that Judge Burton is calling. And I think now that more judges are being called out and named, I'm sure it has gotten their attention. But this threatens to take down the entire system. judges are in on it.
They were caught on video after this lawsuit was filed. So there was a lawsuit filed alleging that this cabal of guardians was colluding with judges and with therapists, psychologists to diagnose one parent with false psychological disorders, charge them huge amounts of money, and take their children from them, hide child abuse allegations, and give the child to the wealthier parent, who is also happens to be the parent that the child is accusing of molestation. In the cases I've revealed, Nick, these same guardians, Elaine Kudlowski, with her psychotherapist friend James Reed, who is also married to a former judge, they are working together. And every one of these parents I've spoken to who have had experience with these two and others in the system are reporting that they did the same thing, worked with a doctor to have one parent declared unfit and hid child abuse allegations in order to give the child back to the other parent.
Let me tell you the story that first got my attention, and it was a story surrounding audio that got leaked of I believe it was a 14-year-old girl, and the judge was, I wanted to say sentencing her, but telling her, no, you have to go live with your father, and she's pleading. Somebody leaked audio of this, pleading with the judge, saying, he molests me. He is my molester. Do not do this. And the judge threatened to send her mom to jail if she did not.
She didn't just threaten.
She did.
She didn't just threaten. She sent her mom to jail.
I don't understand. No, you don't understand. You understand you can't work to go to the child molester. There are factors that they want to consider. First, the child's position and another factor to consider. First, there's about 10,000. And the court, and the law is very clear. The child's position is one of many factors, and it's not the controlling factor. It's never the controlling factor. Because children are still children. They're still children. You're still a child. You're not 18. You don't get making decisions. 4 years, you're going to be making decisions for yourself. You're going to be calling the shots. And until you hit that age, the court is controlling and custody.
Children are still children. I agree. It's really ironic that somebody who says children are still children is trying to rob this child of her childhood. Forcing her, ordering her, with the power and authority of the court and the state, to go live with somebody who she just verified in an open court molest her. If that's not criminal, if you don't think that's criminal because the state hasn't written a statute about it, there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
I understand you're not happy. That's your choice. I don't want to have to put anyone in jail today for any harm. And she can do what she wants to do. The result of her conduct in violation of the court order, however, is that she has to have consequences. She has free will, but her free will could end up her up in jail. And when Ms. Freiner is taken to jail, you are not going to have a parent to go home with other than that.
Okay, what's going on here is because the girl doesn't want to go get molested, she's going to arrest her mom. So that the choice will be really easy because the girl won't have anywhere else to go. And because the girl is still so defiant, she gets locked up in a mental institution. And look at what the judge just said. She said, yeah, your mom has free will. Your mom has free will. But if she disobeys this court order, her free will is going to end her up in jail. Well, that's not really free will at all. That's extortion and coercion. And when you're doing it legally like that, it's called slavery. It's called slavery. When you have to work, when you have to do things that other people order you to do, and they're not compensating you in any kind of way, That's called slavery. That's what it's called. And I thought we abolished slavery here in the United States. Apparently you didn't get the memo.
And that's not what the court wants to do. First, the court does not want Ms. Freiner in jail. The court wants you with Dad, Ms. Freiner back in her house. You ready to go, Dad? Alright. You do you let downstairs know that we're going to the attorney back.
She threatened her and then did it. And then she took the child, and that's Judge Nicole Zellweger in the circuit court in St. Louis. She sent the child to a mental ward at the Children's Hospital in St. Louis, where she is right now. She has no access to a lawyer other than the guardian ad litem, whose name is Venus Jackson, who is working on behalf of her father to return her to the father she charges with molestation. Now, let me just say, her mother has no criminal record until the judge threw her in jail. The father does have a criminal record for domestic abuse. He also took her to a level 3 sex offender's house, his father, and kept her there for a week. And that's all in the court documents. The judge knew this. And she still, despite this child pleading with her, still is ordering her to go back to her father several states away from her mother in Missouri. She's going to be sent to Montana to live with this man. It is on court record that his stepdaughter already moved out of his house because of that domestic dispute that ended up with his arrest and charging, and he's on probation. So already another young woman under his care has run away from him. And we are supposed to believe that this man is a safe place for this girl who is saying, I don't want this.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Not just the fact that it's happening here in America, but what's really insane to me is that the people are allowing it to happen. Why? Why?
The entire St. Louis Judiciary Circuit Court has recused themselves from this case. The Chief Justice himself, his name is Douglas Burton, he was caught sending an email violating his judge's code of conduct by commenting on a case that was going to be in front of his court. Not just commenting, but offering to help the defendants in the case. That is obstruction of justice. He should be in handcuffs. Not only do I have him on email, but there's leaked video of 38 guardians talking about, at least 2 of them talking about how they spoke to Judge Burton, ex parte communication, called him up.
I think that we should, whoever's at the meeting should bring that up to the judge that, you know, this issue is there. But I do know that he's aware of it because he's reached out to bar associations.
I will ask today, but I think that, like Venus said, he's incorporating, but that's something that they need to get a hold of.
Right. Yeah, I just don't know how much they know about it and how much it's filtered down to the other judges. And I can't be at the meeting this afternoon, so I just want to make sure that gets addressed.
Okay.
Is someone attending that meeting this afternoon?
Yeah, I am.
So, let me just talk about this for a minute, because you heard the reporter say, hey, they're having ex parte communications with the judge. They're talking with the judge. Then you just heard the attorneys talking in a meeting with each other. And they're talking about having a meeting with the judge. And there's a representative from the attorneys who's going to go meet with the judge or judges. And there's another attorney who's like, well, I was invited, but I couldn't make it. I'm too busy. And they're also talking about being in touch with the Bar Association. So when things like this happen, they call their buddies down at the Bar Association because they're going to be sitting on the disciplinary committees that are going to be hearing this. And why don't you tell me how come jury tampering is a huge crime, punishable by years in prison? But they can call the jury, they can call the judges, they can call the people in the Bar Association and say, hey, let's figure out how to handle this together. Unless there's a huge problem. And one of the big problems that I have is that we don't know law anymore. The public doesn't know law. Because if you did, then you would know none of those judges had to recuse themselves. And why? Why? Because judges don't have power to judge us. That's what juries are for. Judges are just there to witness the jury's judgment, to witness it on behalf of the power and authority of the state. But this has gotten turned so backwards. And it's gotten turned so backwards because too many people worship these statues the state creates, that the state calls law or statutes. That's what's really going on. And it's going to go on till you do something about it. Until you do something about it.
Go after him, probably with lawfare. They're a bunch of lawyers. What else would they do? Why would they spend up to $10,000, they said, to find out the identity of the person reporting on the bad things they do? And, get this, Nick, they don't deny that the things in the newsletter are untrue. They, in fact, admit on tape, in the leaked Zoom video, they admit on tape that the things he's reporting are privileged and confidential information, which means that it's true. And also that they're going after a whistleblower, because if a whistleblower leaks information that implicates people in a crime, that's not protected information. That's protected under the whistleblower law, and as lawyers, they ought to know that.
Let me explain something here. When you're committing fraud, there is no privileged information. And all you have to do is go look at Michael Cohen and Donald Trump, because when the FBI went and seized all of Michael Cohen's files and everything about Donald Trump, Donald Trump was saying that's all privileged information. Michael Cohen was saying that's privileged information. The news was saying that's privileged information. But what came out was there was a little bit of civil fraud in there. And just because there was a little bit of civil fraud, none of the information was privileged anymore. And she's right. As lawyers, they should know that. And they do. They do.
Sarah, do you think there's something that you could raise with Burton too? If somebody's got a case number and it's a paternity case, it still shouldn't be coming up. So maybe there's really a problem within the security settings within the system too.
Yeah, I'll raise that. Then that brings us to the next one. Elaine has an expert. She has identified an expert. I don't know who this person is. I don't want to know. But they think that they might be able to uncover this. And this is where it gets costly. They, according to Elaine, there are either 3 or 4 tiers of the work that they do. And they've done the first tier and it's come up with nothing. So then you go to the second tier. They feel that they may be able to uncover this. These people cost $425 an hour. And Elaine has been dragging her feet saying, no, nobody needs to contribute. No, I will do it. But I have gotten her to say that she will accept, because Dave said, if Elaine thinks that that's not appropriate, maybe we get an expert on our own to try and do it, but it seems to be more efficient. So for those of us who would want to contribute to that, we need to not send a check to Elaine, according to her lawyers. We need to send it to one lawyer, and then they will send it to her law firm. Any discussion about that?
Well, can I ask, is the expert a computer forensics expert trying to track down, who's doing this and where this is coming from? I mean, that's what I was going to suggest that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's our best chance. If we can really all pull together to do something, it's to try to financially support this and give them enough money that they may really be able to uncover it, because I don't know how we're going to figure it out otherwise. I mean, there are other things that may come in, but this seems to be the best shot at really trying to get somewhere.
Well, I think it makes sense to do it within Elaine's case because then it kills two birds with one stone, hopefully, which is, Elaine can use it in her case, and then we know who it is. Mm-hmm. So,
if you want to know why we are losing so badly to people on the other side, to people within the legal society, this right here is the answer. Because somebody's doing the right thing and going after one of them for fraud. And instead of everybody just disassociating with that individual who's performing criminal activity, most likely, allegedly, they all get together and stand together, stand behind one another. They all pull their resources together and unite as one. And until we do that, they're going to keep picking us off one by one. And I understand that we're not all attorneys and we don't have an immense amount of finances and we can't go charge our clients $450 an hour to screw them over and sell them to the system. So not everybody can pitch in like what they're talking about. But we can unite and we can tell the courthouse what the law is and to do the right thing and to perform the law and their function in society, or we can abolish them. Because if they're not performing their function in society, why do we care to allow them to exist? If they're perpetrating the same criminal activity that they say they're trying to protect us from, why do we need them? We don't. But we got to stand with each other. We got to quit being afraid. This is why I've been making the videos. Everybody should write down to the courthouse, file judicial complaints. Hey, I heard this. I witnessed this. I heard an audio of that. And I believe that we should add Nicole Zellweger onto this list. And we should get in touch with this courthouse and ask them what they're doing. That's what we should do. We should stand behind these people who are standing up before they come and knock us down. Before the other side comes and knocks us down. Because that's the only chance we got. And if we're not willing to stand with each other over our children, then there's never going to be an issue that we're going to stand with each other over. Don't get it twisted. This isn't a Republican thing. This isn't a Democratic thing. It was the Republicans and the Democrats that set up this system. And this system's nationwide. It's just getting exposed in St. Louis, Missouri. The same way that the system's set up in Missouri is the same way it's set up all across the nation. And the way it's set up for them to commit fraud. That's why everything is privileged and confidential in family court. They say it's to protect the family. No, it's not. And if the family wishes to keep their business private, they shouldn't take it to court. We'd have a much better society that way. But if it goes to court and you think the government should get involved, you best believe the public should be involved.
Well, she has nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
Her children are lost to her.
No.
One of them is suicidal, and the other one, is so angry with her because what happens is eventually when you can't protect your children through the system, when they're being abused, they start to blame you because they think that the protective parent should be able to do something about it. And when you can't, because the system stops you, it alienates your children from you. This story I have seen over and over and over again. And this case in St. Louis is the best chance we've ever had to blow the lid off of it because so many witnesses are coming forward. So many people are saying, I've had enough, I'm not scared anymore, and I don't care what I have nothing left to lose. I've lost my job, I've lost my house, I've lost everything. And let me say something else. On that leaked video, the Guardians ad litem are laughing about getting rich. They're saying that we're not getting any money. Where's the money coming from? Well, let me tell you how easy it is to discover how wealthy these people are. Public records show that Elaine Kuzlowski is living in a house that costs valued over $700,000. Does that sound like a small amount of money to you? She made $30,000 on one case. She has the highest caseload in all of St. Louis County, maybe the state. 86 cases in December is a whole lot of cash. And the idea that a woman like that, who lives such a privileged life, is driving a Lexus, according to public records, can say that she has not made money off of this scheme is an absolute absurd lie. James Reed, with his ex-judge husband, is living in a $900,000 house in St. Louis. So these people truly believe that they are not making a lot of money. Do they know what their average client is making? The money they took from the clients, by the way, was their college savings for their children, was all they had. So many of these clients contacted me and said, I am now out of a job, I lost my car, I lost my house. I had to sell everything to pay Elaine Kuzlowski her $30,000 fee. And she has the nerve to say she's not making money. These people are out of touch, they are elite, they are privileged economically and in every other way. And it makes me angry to hear them say that they don't make any money off of this scheme.
Taken Elaine to task, though, in this Cash for Kids scheme that I was originally named in, I haven't received a penny. I don't know where that money is. It's COVID.
On top of that, you're running a Ponzi scheme, Elaine? How dare you?
Right. We should all be really wealthy by now.
Yeah. I mean, when you're selling kids,
Right.
there's got to be some money attached to that.
Yep.
And that's an idea. We could adopt the identity. We could call ourselves Cash for Kids.
Oh, yeah, LLC. Mile Financials. It is growing. I mean, I've got a case now with Laura where the mom's really mad at me all the time. But one of the things among the many threats that she's done is that I know 4 or 5 other families, and we're getting together and we're hiring a lawyer. And I don't know that she is. A lot of what she says isn't the truth, but there's a part that she certainly knows about this stuff.
Now, why would an attorney be worried about getting sued by their client if everything they're doing is above board? And how sick and soulless do you have to be to joke and laugh about selling kids for cash? And you're really going to tell me that they don't get cash for what they do? Really? And I can understand how they might not view themselves as wealthy because it's America. And somebody's always richer than the next individual. It's just the way America is. But America's changed. Let me go back to what the reporter was talking about. About how parents have lost everything. They don't have anything else to lose anymore. That's why they're coming out and being public about it. Let me tell you something about that. If the public really makes a push to get law upheld in the courthouse, and they don't uphold it, somebody who doesn't have anything to lose. Historically, that's when the guns come out and people get shot or they chop their heads off. I talk about the common law all the time. And you want to know why the common law exists? The common law exists because of people like William Wallace, where when the British government was trying to impose a civil law for them, they said, no, we're not accepting your law. And they would cut off government officials' heads and they would put it on a stake out in front of the town. You do that enough times, and those people are going to say, okay, we'll listen to you. We'll listen to your law. Your law is good law for us, because we don't want to die. That's exactly what happened to King John, Magna Carta. You're the one who allows law to exist. and you're the one who's supposed to watch over the government. And if we had a real government, like the way it was supposed to be, where grand juries would be in and out of those courtrooms and in and out of those court files and watching over these people and making sure that if there's any type of fraudulent activity or anything scandalous going on, they'd make a presentment to the other members of the grand jury and bring indictments against government officials. How much better do you think the government would act? If we had real law and the government had to issue a bond with every warrant, how many warrants do you think they would issue? Maybe prison wouldn't be such a big business. Maybe we wouldn't go after people for things like drugs and let pedophiles go. And if we allow the system to keep going the way that it's going, I can tell you what's going to happen. They're going to call their people at the Bar Association. They're going to put on a public show and charade. And just like Greg Newman up in Hendersonville, who let pedophiles go and child rapists go, they're going to say, oh, well, you're suspended with the suspension. So you're not really suspended. But it's okay, because we gave the public a good show, and hopefully they believe that we're administering some justice, because that's what it's all about. They just wish for you to believe they're doing their job, because they're not. And they're not gonna do their job unless you force them to do their job. The reason all of those judges recused themselves is because they all have firsthand knowledge of the facts. They all know what's going on. And it's like that in every single city, county, all across America. Some places are a lot worse than others. Some people are not as evil as others. Some jurisdictions are better and actually kind of uphold the law still because they have a conscience. I'm going to say this one thing about a court order, and then I'm going to peace out. But let me explain to you what a court order is. I'm going to use an analogy. You can call me Mr. Court for this analogy. So Mr. Court invites you and a guardian ad litem, one of his friends, and a psychologist, another one of his friends, and a legal expert, another one of his friends, all out to a really nice steak dinner. We're going to Steakhouse 47. That's a bomb steak restaurant around here. It's one of those restaurants where they don't put the menu on the price. I'm going to order you a steak, me a steak. I'm going to order the guardian ad litem a steak, the psychologist a steak, the legal expert a steak. I'm going to put $400 worth of sides on all of those plates. And then when the bill comes, I'm going to tell you to pay it. It's a court order. I'm Mr. Court. I ordered all of this food. Now you got to pay it. Would you pay it? Because it's not a court judgment. These aren't courts of law. They don't issue judgments. They don't have juries. Here in America, we don't trust government. Of course you wouldn't pay that court order. You didn't order the food. And it's incredibly rude for me to go order a bunch of stuff and then ask you to pay it. That's what's going on with court orders. That's the reality of it. And everybody goes along because, it's a court order. The court decided. The court decided. The court can't decide anything. Nicole decided. Nicole chose to send that child with a child rapist. The court doesn't have a mind. It doesn't have imagination. It doesn't have thoughts. Never went to school. Can't breathe. Can't conspire. Only the people within it can conspire together. That's the reality. Wake up. And if you wake up and you don't do anything, You deserve what's gonna happen to you. I am just conspiracy. I just wish to conspire to keep our children safe. If you can't get on board with that, you're heartless. Peace.
All right, folks, that was from Just Conspiracy YouTube channel. And the description or the link is in the description. And then we're going to be playing another one called something Popo. It's also from his channel, from Jonathan's channel. So let me, give me 1 second, folks. I got to share this Zoom link out to our main guest. So there's 2 more videos for our pre-show that will be covering a little bit more a context regarding Angie's case. This next one is when the police came to her house with the invalid order to take her daughter. So that's the next one. So let me just send this out here real quick and then we'll resume that. All right. So make sure you can all hear it. Okay. And we shall go on to the next one.
That's going to be, I mean, this is the option we have to keep you in the loop and keep you involved as best as possible is we have to take custody. There's the bottom line.
She won't go with you.
I understand. But if you guys would be willing to work with us while we sort all this out, we can go down to the station. You can follow us and go with us.
I'm not going to the station. There's no reason for me to.
Okay, she has to go with us.
She's not going to go with you. What, are you going to pick her up and take her? Are you physically going to pick her up and take her? Well, then that's what you're going to have to do.
Get you to work with us.
I am working with you. When her dad comes in town, we can handle this.
Dad's not in town.
Well, no kidding. What's he want you to do with her when he's in Montana?
They're going to make arrangements for that.
They're going to make arrangements, and then that's when you should have been at my door when arrangements were made.
DFS will be taking custody.
No, DFS isn't.
That was awesome. Now we're following Angela Freiner again, and this is from when the police came to her house. If you haven't seen her story, you should really watch the view that I made for Easter. I'll link it right up here somewhere. But she is spot on. She is spot on. Well, we'll handle it when there's something to handle. We'll handle it when there's something to handle. Let's go back and hear what she said.
Or you to do with her when he's in Montana.
They're going to make arrangements for that.
They're going to make arrangements, and then that's when you should have been at my door when arrangements were made.
DFS.
See, when you got lawful executable arrangements, that's when you should come over. Until then, leave me alone. Who doesn't agree with that?
When arrangements were made.
DFS will be taking custody.
No, DFS isn't taking her.
They're going to have to.
She's not going to go with them.
Okay, Delilah, you...
I'm not going with anybody.
I know, but you have to understand the situation.
I don't care. I'm not going with anybody.
Okay. Why don't we gather some stuff right now while we're trying to figure out...
Did you not hear what she said? She's not going with anybody.
Bottom line, you're going to have...
I'm not going with you.
We're trying to be very cordial with you guys, and...
As cordial as you want to be, she's still not going with you.
We're trying to be the most polite kidnappers we can be while we know we're being recorded. So why don't you just consent to us allowing us to rip your family apart? Why don't you just consent? You gotta understand. It's the best interest. Gotta understand. Anybody would understand.
She's still not going with you.
Allow you to help out in this situation.
This is how kids get snapped.
However, we have to abide by this court order. You do have to go with us.
I'm not going with you.
In the meantime, like I said, we're going to go down there and basically just be there while we're dealing with this DFS stuff. If DFS says that she doesn't need to go with us, We will put her back with you in your
Why is she going to go with you to be brought back? That don't make no sense.
Because in the meantime, she has to be in our custody. So if they say otherwise, we can put her right back in your car and you can bring her back. We're allowing you to work with us in this process, to go down there.
Do you know how damaging this is, what you guys are doing right now to her as a child?
Understand?
No, you don't understand, because this isn't your kid that you're doing this to.
We are just the messenger trying to abide by this order that we were presented with.
Well,
okay? So we're not.
Look, he just said, we're just the messenger trying to abide by this order that we're having to deal with, that we're having to come out here and check up on. You know, there's this man, he got hung on a cross one time. His name was Christ. And some people call him the Messiah. You know, that's just another common name for this man. And Messiah literally means messenger. They're just the messengers. They're coming from the gods. You know, they don't know what the court order's about, but they're going to fulfill it. And this is the real idea of the separation of powers in our government. You see, you have the legislative branch, but they could become corrupt. So what's the next check and balance? Well, you have the judicial branch to keep the legislative and the executive branches in line. They're supposed to uphold the law so nothing gets executed without it being lawful. And if that safe net fails, then it actually goes back to the executive branch to have people in the community carry out that judgment. That's why they got the police or the sheriff. Now, an order could issue from a court, from the judge, from the thing, and an officer could get it, and it might not even be lawful or true or correct, but they're going to go and try and execute it all the same. They don't know the difference. And this is what's so important about everybody knowing the simple basics of law.
Okay. So we're not trying to make this as traumatic as we're trying to make it.
Not trying to make it traumatic? You just being here is traumatic.
By going along with this process with us, it can minimize a lot of that. Okay?
Did you hear what he just said? She said, you just being here is traumatic. And he didn't say it wasn't. He didn't disagree. He just said, well, if you just consented to the least amount of trauma we're trying to impose, we wouldn't have to impose more trauma. But if you don't consent, we're going to beat you into submission because it's a free country and the government's not corrupt. That's what I heard.
To minimize a lot of it. Okay? So we are allowing you this opportunity.
We are
to
allowing
down
you.
to the station until we hear otherwise. But in the meantime, she has to be in our custody.
Well, then I guess you might as well take a seat and sit here until we get DFS answered.
It's not going to work.
Well, you taking her is not going to work. I am working with you.
I mean, that is kind of work.
I opened my door.
Offered a seat.
I offered you a seat. You want to sit down while...
That's my favorite part right there. Well, I mean, man, she is kind of working with you. She offered you a seat. She said, we can wait until you get some type of lawful process order. Till you get something lawful. Till that's verified. Shoot. She's probably working with them more than I would.
I offered you a seat. You want to sit down while we wait for DFS? That's fine.
You read this?
I read that a week ago.
Okay, it says she has to be removed. All right? We don't
By
have
who?
any other options.
Who's going to remove her?
If you're going to force us and force our hand in this, we are going to have...
If you want to physically get physical with my daughter, go ahead. But that's what it's going to take, because she's not going to go willingly. She's a 14-year-old kid.
Okay, and you're her mother in this situation.
Yeah. And I'm her mother
Protecting
protecting her.
Protecting her and preventing this from escalating, you can allow her to go along with this process, go with us down there while we sort all this out.
She's not going to go with you.
here's what that man just said, in my opinion. To allow her to come with us, you'll be protecting her because this won't get escalated. Otherwise, we're going to have to bring out the black gloves, and it's going to get real ugly for her. That's what I heard. I don't know what you heard.
Sort all this out.
She's not going to go with you.
But you understand you're also making a decision in this.
Yeah, I know exactly what decision I'm making. You don't think I haven't been thinking about this since she got here?
And this is what I would just like to say, for all parents, people who have been through this situation, people who have known people who've gone through this situation. A lot of people consent and they don't know that they consent. And they're like, okay, we'll go down to the police station with you. You're going to have us turned right around and leaving, right? No, why? Why are we going to go? Am I under arrest? Did you arrest me? You got some type of lawful process? Well, why are you here even bothering me? You should have had all the arrangements made before you even came here. All he can say is, we have to do this, and we have to use whatever force is necessary and proper. That's what he said, and she's like, I don't know, this is awesome.
Since she got here? You don't think I've been facing this for weeks now? You don't think I have thought nothing but this?
I understand, and you're going to have this court date on January 29th. This isn't a permanent thing. This is literally called a temporary restraining order.
Okay, she's not going with you temporarily.
Based on fucking bullshit, though, the restraining order, it's all lies.
If that's the case, then he'll be charged for filing a false...
Oh, that is a lie in itself. He lied in court. The lawyers lied. The judge lies. I got it all recorded.
Okay. That's fine. Lying in court is a criminal charge.
The judge lies. So what do you do when you have a judge you can't trust because she's a liar?
Okay. I'm not going to go into your process that's happened so far.
Well, everybody's liars.
You have this process.
Trust nobody in that court system. Nobody.
I like this jacket.
Alright. She says she has recordings of all of the stuff that she claims happened. I happen to believe her because I could think of at least 3 more cases that are 100% blatant and obvious where everyone in the courtroom is straight up lying. All of them. It doesn't matter where they were at. Just because somebody was standing up for themselves. And I've seen people go and issue false 50Bs and, restraining orders, and they never, what they issued it about was never truthful. And I've seen them get caught in court for doing that, and nothing happened. That's pretty awesome. But he's just there to carry out an order. Now, they stick around for half an hour, a little bit more. And this is a couple of clips that I took out from the middle just to kind of show who they are a little bit more. Let's check it out.
Oh, I think that's Kyle.
Kyle, is this your jacket?
Yeah.
Oh, can I have it?
I don't know. I can't tell which one it is.
It doesn't have a zipper and it's all broken.
It's a hoodie. Yeah, you can have it.
Thanks.
We could have had it anyway. I was just seeing what it was.
Come on, Sammy in.
You remember what it is?
Yeah. That's all you're going to do, nothing but sit here.
Okay. You all told me to put him outside. Right?
I didn't tell you to do nothing with the dog.
Oh, what's that? You said take some. Alright. I'll go get him. Push me up.
Push you up?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no. See who's got family zoned.
By who?
Boy.
Oh. Stupid boy.
People got family zoned.
By a boy?
A really good looking boy. He's the boy. He's like 16.
Sammy! Sam's it. Come here. Oh, there you go. Bypass them. That's a good boy. Come here. Come on. Oh. Okay.
See, I think that is just awesome. I think it's awesome because, you know, you get to hear the daughter interact with Kyle. Yeah, you can have. I just want to know which one it is. You know, make sure I'm not looking for it in my closet. And her and her mom. You know, her mom asks for Kyle to get the dog. Kyle goes and gets the dog. Her and her mom talk about boys, cute boys, healthy relationship. You know, in a very stressful situation. All these people at your door, all up in your business in the middle of the night, and you're still just chilling, being peaceful, not doing anything, and carrying on the best you can. That's awesome. That's awesome to me. Now, let's see what happens when the officer comes back.
Okay. Okay. I know. I don't know why they did that to you. He's a good boy. Look how happy he is.
On callbacks to get anybody we can to verify that this is in effect, okay? Once we're able to verify that, it's still going to be a standing issue, a court-ordered issue, so we have to abide.
Did you just hear him? He just said, we haven't gotten this verified yet. This hasn't been verified, certified, and authenticated. So we just heard from our people that we can't put on the black gloves and rip her out. But as soon as we can get this verified, certified, authenticated, we're going to be back. But let me just ask you again, what were they doing out there with an unverified, uncertified, unauthentic order to take a girl from her mom? Why did that happen in the first place? At all. Period.
By that. However, at this time, we are going to leave. You're going to stay here while you guys are here in a safe environment and all that. Obviously, there's nothing, like you said, that we see of anything that puts her in immediate
no danger.
Right now,
completely safe. I'm her mom. Done this for years.
Okay. When we have more information, we're going to have to come back and we're going to let you know exactly what's going on. We're being very transparent.
When we actually get the lawful side of this legal process they're trying to put you through, we're going to come back and then we're going to do something bad. We just got to let you know. But don't run and don't try and stop it.
Transparent about everything, trying to keep you in the loop on this as well. If you want to try and make correspondence with that attorney and sort out kind of what the deal is. But if it comes down that that order is in effect, we will have to act on it. Now this puts you in a very weird position that you have to basically sit and wait and hear what comes back from the courts. However, just want to give you the heads up that there is the criminal charge if you were to take off.
Well, what comes back from the courts? Didn't you say you got that process from a court? Isn't that why you were out here in my home for 45 minutes? Was because you received that process from the court and it was true, lawful, and correct and you could execute it? Now you can't? But you're going to arrest me if I try and do anything. But we're free. We're free.
Her to take off and take her.
Oh, why am I going to go anywhere? I'm fighting this battle all the way through.
That's perfectly fine. I just want to let you know that that's a felony kidnapping.
I ain't going nowhere.
Even as a parent, that can do the parental kidnapping.
I ain't going nowhere.
I'm not saying anything that we will or will not be doing. I'm just letting you know what we have. And
running from this ain't going to stop it.
Right. And so, bottom line is, there is this court date for January 29th, as long as we can verify that. And that's going to be your opportunity to fight this and fight for custody here. Explaining everything that you told to us that happened down there that wasn't presented in your original case. You're going to have this opportunity here, but I have to insist that you just work with this in the meantime. Okay? Do you have any questions or anything right now? Okay. Like I said, at some point we're gonna have to come back, and even if it comes back that we're all good to just stay here until we hear otherwise, I'll give you a call and let you know, keep you in the loop, and keep everything on the same page here.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Did we get, I don't know if we have a good phone number for you.
314.
You still have those paperwork. Hang on one second. And again, if you got any other questions, Officer McClintock.
McClintock, okay.
Call.
I think Angela did a way better job than I would have done. I don't know if I would have been that courteous with somebody in my home like that. But she was polite with them, helping them out, giving them her phone number so that they could get in touch with her. So if they actually did have a real legitimate process, they could work it out. I think Angela did awesome. What I'm concerned about is why the cops were there and that process they were trying to serve or execute wasn't verified from their mouth. That's what I wonder about. And here's the other thing I wonder about. I wonder what it's going to take to change this. Because I don't know if you've been following Angela's story, but on Easter Sunday, I released a video talking about it. And I just wish for you to know that this was between the time of the testimony given by the daughter. It was between there and when Angela got actually locked up. Actually locked up. Thrown in jail so that they could take custody of the daughter because Angela would not agree. Would not consent. That's the only reason. That's the only reason. The whole reason they were there for that hearing and the consent that they were moving on was for the daughter not showing up. And they would have dropped it, or I think it might have been for Angela not showing up for court. But they would have dropped it. They would have let the whole thing go. Nicole says it multiple times. They would have let the whole thing go. All they had to do was to consent to what they didn't want to consent to. Sounds a lot like rape to me. Coming from the state and people in the state. And so, see, way back in the day, because every single officer used to know what lawful processes were and how the law worked, and it wasn't so confusing that you had to go talk to an attorney about something simple. When everybody knew that, see, officers, they knew if a court order was legitimate. They knew before they went to go serve it. Because if they went to go serve it and it wasn't legitimate, guess what? They might get shot. You know, trying to come take my kid with a piece of paper that's not legitimate that nobody can verify. What? What would you do if somebody in Walmart just came up and grabbed your kid and started running? What would you do to that person? Would you just hand your child over? What if they came up and hand you a piece of paper and they say, I order you to give me your children? Would you do it? You wouldn't do it? I wouldn't do it. Then how does it happen? How does it happen? And how is it going to change? How's it going to change? Because people have tried a lot of different things, you know. They've done it before. But you're never going to change something like this by voting the right one into office. And you're never going to change something like this by doing nothing about it. And you're never going to change something like this by ignoring it. So how do you change something like this? Well, when it's this far out of line, you have to require it. And you have to do whatever it takes to get there. But let's be real clear on this. We're all in this boat together. We're all in this boat together. So it doesn't matter what your issue is, whether it's family court or, racism or whatever. If one of us doesn't have rights, none of us has rights. The only way to change it is if we change it. Think about this for a minute. After that video with the cops, and I'm going to tell you right now, here's what the cops wanted to do. They wanted to get the daughter down to the station because I'm sure that somebody thought about this. They said, well, you can't just rip the daughter out of her house on camera. That would probably look bad. So what about you get her to consent to come down to the station? When they get down to the station, you just don't let the mom leave with her unless she fights her or she fights y'all and physically removes the daughter. Then we'll have her looking crazy. That was probably that conversation right there. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know that happened, okay? But that's just what it seems like to me. And they try and get them to go down, but they won't. They won't, because that's gangster. It's gangster not to do that. And somebody asked me, they were like, John, what do you mean by gangster? I'm going to tell you what I mean by gangster. See, a gangster is a famous outlaw in his day and time. Like Robin Hood was a gangster. He was outside the law and he did the right thing. Gandhi was a gangster. Right? I mean, he didn't really work with the legal system and he just peacefully didn't care. Peacefully went against them. Jesus was probably the biggest gangster of all, if you want to go along the lines of gangster stories. It's just someone who's famous for being an outlaw in their day.
You're doing really fucking
what I
good.
think when I think of gangster. And that's what they're doing. They would not consent. No. And so after that, again, they get pulled in to court on a motion to hold Angela in contempt. And again, Nicole's like, I'll let your mom go. Just come with me. Just let us take complete control of your life and, send you with somebody who you already told us he molested you a lot of times. Yeah, just consent to that. Otherwise, your mom's going to jail. And then Angela goes to jail. She gets out of jail. She writes, hey, there could be consequences for your actions. And she goes back to jail. Has felony charges. Could face years in prison. I called the Supreme Court about it. Called the Supreme Court. And James did the right thing, but here's the issue, is that this is so public and so blatant that if there was actually any law, order, and justice, surely one of the higher courts, one of the higher people would be like, y'all gotta stop. We gotta punish you because what you did was so offensive. But that hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. Why? Well, if you ask me, it's not proof. It's not proof. But the only way I could see that possibly happening is if it was corrupt. From the bottom to the top. It's kind of like maybe Nagy would have said, see, it started corrupt, and then it kept getting corrupted until it was actually corrupted. Yeah, that's probably what Nagy would have said. So, I'm just going to leave you with this question. If you're not going to do anything about it, who do you suppose will? We are just conspiracy, and we just wish to conspire with other good people of this planet. Right now, to push a movement to get Angela her daughter back. One world, love, and peace.
All right, folks, that video was the a video that was what about a year ago, Dottie?
Yes,
Anyways,
yes,
go
that
ahead.
was a year ago. That was the unlawful TRO that they came to try to take my daughter on, and that was in January. That was actually January 15th of last year. That it's the same TOR that they took my daughter on a few days later, and on February 10th, the recording with my daughter in the courtroom when she went to the mental hospital and I went to jail for the criminal contempt order. That is the same unlawful, unverified TRO that took her. So they have kidnapped her. Basically, this is, unlawful, not legal, not legit. So this is the same TOR that has kept her from me for the last year also.
Okay. So the next video is that one video, the most recent one he did regarding the hearing recently. So we want to give our viewers a brief overview of what this video is for this last pre-recorded content for our pre-show.
Okay. Not this past Friday, the last Friday, we had our final trial, and this is just some little clips of her dad in court and what he puts on the record. All this goes on the record in that trial. The fact that I proved that they unlawfully took my daughter on a TRO and that they're all aware of what they're doing. I proved this in court on Friday, and he does a little bit of clips from her dad speaking on the stand.
Okay, so let's show that for our viewers, and then after that we will give them we will start our live. So this is we're running a little bit late, folks, but do you want to go ahead and play the whole video or just a good portion of it?
We can just play like the beginning part.
Okay, so by the first 15-20 minutes,
right? He just talks a few minutes in the beginning, and then he shows the actual hearing from February 10th.
Okay,
he shows that at the end.
All right, so yeah, we'll show those portions in. Oh, where are you? There we go.
Make this easy and do this easy so we can do the hard way. That's why it's in part of that. Easy way so we can do the hard way. There's no way they can do anything. There's no evidence. This is what I'm telling you. Nobody knows my emotions more than I do. And nobody can say my experiences are not valid because I was the person that experienced it.
Understand.
So I don't understand. No, you don't understand. If you understood, you would have forced me to go to the child molester.
No, Delilah. I'm going to stop you right there.
Hold on.
Who do you want to go? The police are going to go get your child and take her to whoever's going to hold her till she transfers custody.
She's not going with him.
Yeah, she is.
No, she's not. I have 5 days to take a drug test, she said.
No, the judge said you said that you're refusing to do it, so she's saying you're being taken into custody right now.
How does this happen before we even go to a trial? You stop just blowing me off and explain to me?
Ma'am, nobody's blowing you off.
You're not telling me anything.
I've explained it to you. The judge explained it to you 4 times.
I don't understand if this is, because 1 minute I'm being told this is not a criminal case, and the next minute I'm being told I'm going to jail, and my daughter's being ripped out of me, out of my hands.
She made it clear to you. She's the judge. It's an order. It's not a suggestion. It's an order.
I'm not giving up my kid.
Well, then
you're going to be in jail.
You're going to be in jail.
That doesn't mean that I have to give up my kid.
Yes, it does. Oh, yeah, it does.
She's 13.
She's entering the order right now.
They're not taking her.
Yeah, they are. Right now. She's going to be on a plane tonight.
No, she won't.
So you're refusing to say who should go and get custody of her at the house right now?
She's not at the house.
Where is she?
I'm not giving my kid up.
Oh.
You know what? You want to sit here and say that I don't care about you?
order. You left the state. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and a lot of that's something you're going to have to you do not realize that there are a lot of people out there that don't even have their dad around,
Dad.
let alone even know who their dad is.
Dad.
But you should be fortunate enough to even know me.
Dad, people that are fortunate don't have to have their dad live 100,000,000 miles away.
I don't have that privilege, and you have the fortunate to even know me, Delilah. So do not call me up and disrespect me.
It'd probably be easier if I didn't freaking know you had to put up with Sarissa.
I mean, get her goddamn name right, or I ain't gonna fucking let you say it again.
Dad. Dad.
What? What do you have to say to me, Delilah?
Can you please just back the freaking papers?
I moved away. I moved away. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't sign these papers. Maybe I should just let you grow up to be a fucked up little kid like your mom is.
Hey there. Let's talk about this. So, hopefully people have kind of followed the videos about Angie. And I don't know where I got everything, but right now I just wish to tell you a story. A canary in the coal mine, if you will. Because Angela Freiner and her daughter, they've been going through it. And what you just heard was a mom acting gangsta, not willing to give up a child like a real woman would act. And then you heard the dad and how he was talking to his precious little girl. And I'm not here to tell you which law you should follow. That's a question left better to your heart. I'm just here to present evidence. Not proof, just evidence. That the law we have, the law people believe in, is wrong.
They're in the waiting room, so I need to admit them. The person's name, according to their little screen thing, is Kyle Ortball. Does anybody know who that is?
I don't. I do.
Okay. And is that a witness, or is that someone who wants to listen?
I think it's somebody that just wants to watch.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Or whatever happens.
This is somebody who just wishes to witness
on that
court.
issue?
I don't know who Mr. Ortball is, and I would object.
Well, my concern is this. So we have, an open courts policy. And so this originally was a paternity case. And so that's the only reason I'm even frankly asking what people's position is on this, because this is or was a paternity case. Obviously, we have constraints on who can hear issues related to paternity, but this is a motion to modify a paternity case. Paternity has already been established, so I don't know that I have the same issues about confidentiality. I don't know that the statute requires that motions to modify custody cases that started as paternity have the confidentiality. Let me ask the GAL. You might be the best person to know the answer to this. Do you know the answer to that issue?
I think it's only on paternity issues, Your Honor.
And not on motions to modify?
There's people that said it on motion to modify on cases in court. But I would like to know who the person is before we admit them.
Okay. Ms. Freiner, do you just want to indicate who this person is?
Oh, it's a long-time friend.
I just wish to point out something real quick. That they're moving to have a witness inside the courtroom, and you heard the judicial officer, the supposed judicial officer, say, I believe the law is real clear on this. We have an open court policy. With, the past couple of videos I've made, that seems really hilarious to me. But what I find even more funny is that the judicial officer is like, Venus Jackson, the GAL, the guardian ad litem. You might be the most qualified to know this one, so what is it? Because I'm a judge, and I gotta ask an attorney for legal advice. But rest assured, both of them said that courts are open in public, so, they should be open in public.
Again, the court, anyone who would normally want to could normally come into a case and sit in my pews
Normally.
and hear the proceedings, so I don't know that I have a concern
Until we
about
start
that.
star chambering you.
And then telling him that he needs to keep his screen off and he needs to keep his volume.
You can come in if you follow all of the rules.
In general, I don't have a concern about that.
Because this isn't a public building. This is my house.
Access to courts.
That's why they call me the judge.
This is Judge Zellweger.
Judge Zellweger.
I think we've met in court before, haven't
The
we?
thing.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that that is on the record, and that we understands that her phone is in my foyer in my office. Is that not correct, Delilah?
That is correct.
Okay, so she has no way to contact any parent, and no parent has any way of contacting her according to the administrative rule.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification for the record.
I didn't get to talk to you.
I just wish to point out right there, they're talking about an administrative rule. And if it's moving under administrative procedure, if it's moving under the rules of administration, guess what? That means it's not moving under the rule of law. That's what that means. Let's see what other tidbits or nuggets we can pick
So
up.
happy birthday. Now I just wanted to establish a couple
Happy
of things.
birthday,
You
President.
do know the difference between
Court.
the truth and a lie, don't you? Yes. Okay, what's the difference?
A lie is something that isn't true, and then the truth is something that actually happened, or I genuinely.
Okay, so if I said I had on an orange shirt, would I be telling the truth or a lie?
Lie, because your shirt is red.
Okay, thank you. I have to establish it. I know it sounds like I'm just asking you crazy questions, but I have to ask those questions, okay? Did anybody else talk to you about the court proceedings today?
Yesterday my mom called me and asked if I would like to go out there for 6 months, and I told her no. But that was about all of our conversations. And she texted me this morning telling me to tell the truth and to be me.
Tell me about your relationship with your stepmom.
For the most part, it's good. She's just, controlling.
Explain.
And like, whenever I try to talk to her about how I feel, she always, like, belittles my feelings and tells me that's not how I feel. And, tries to tell me how I do feel, even though that's not how I actually feel. And every time that I do tell her that that's not how I actually feel, she tells me that I'm lying.
How does that make you feel?
Really sad.
She cares about you just as much as your mom does, and I do, and everybody else, like your uncles, and like my uncle or your uncle on my side. For you to hang up on her just because she's caring and trying to help you.
She was yelling at me.
That's not fair.
She was yelling at me.
I wasn't yelling. I asked you a question. Please tell me how we do not show you respect. Because we do. You don't have an answer because we do. We respect your privacy. We're not all in love with your ass. We're not doing anything. And I always tell you every single day, if you need help, all you have to do is ask. How many times have I sat at my kitchen table helping you with your homework? Every week, basically. Me, sitting there with you. Because I asked, do you need help? Yes. You told me the past
You don't help me every week because I don't ask for help that much. Because I don't feel like I can come to you guys.
That's not true.
You guys say I can, but I don't feel comfortable. You guys say I can, but that doesn't mean that I feel comfortable coming to you guys.
You have no problem.
But you always say that I go to my mom for stuff. This has been shown time after time after time because I trust her.
You have no problem coming down the stairs, coming let's go there. Let's do this. You come into my room and say, Teresa, you know, I was thinking about this thing. Look how cool it is. And then the next freaking week you have it. I don't know why you have a problem with sharing your feelings, because you have no problem sharing your feelings while we're on a car ride to and from school.
That's about like school stuff. That's not about anything like genuinely important. How I
talk
feel
about everything.
That is
You just
not
sit here
true.
and act like that's
We're not talking about schoolwork. We were.
Why are you not turning in your schoolwork? Why?
Because whenever I'm not happy and I don't have motivation to do stuff, and stuff is hard.
Then why are you telling us that you're turning in your work?
Because I'm turning in a lot of it. I'm making an effort.
But you know how important it is to get the grades.
I understand.
So
and I'm trying.
And you know,
I'm not happy.
I understand that. But you know how important it is for your word to be truthful, right?
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing by not telling the truth?
Have you ever heard your...
So, this video is called The View because it's going to be about the view.
All right, folks. Now marks the beginning of our live because it is 6 o'clock p.m. PST, 8 o'clock p.m. CDT, and 9 o'clock p.m. EDT. So without further ado, why don't you go ahead and get started, Dottie, and while I bring up that other video you wanted us to play that. Maybe explain for our viewers that video was actually the wrong video we were thinking of. We accidentally had the wrong one downloaded. So let's tell them a bit about that, and then kind of like tell them what happened at your court hearing, and then we'll kind of segue into that while I get this prepped.
Okay, the video we just watched was the video that Jonathan put out for Easter. It was last Easter, a year ago, and it was the view from Delilah's point of, you know, everything she was going through, what, you know, she could possibly be thinking, and, you know, how it went down. That was really hard to listen to. I haven't listened to that in a minute. That was tough. But JC was going to be on with me tonight, and I don't know, he's MIA, but I have Oracle on with me. She has worked really close with me on this case too. Hi, Oracle. Are you there?
Who? Oracle? Yeah, she's here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Hi, Dottie. Hi.
Hi. Do you remember that video?
I sure do. It's still very painful for me to hear that and to hear Delilah. I can't imagine you sitting through this again, but it's a very, very powerful video, and I always love the way John can succinctly, you know, explain the cases that he works on in a way that is, it's not only so powerful, it's incredibly educational. So how are you doing? I had to dry my eyes after hearing that one. Oh my goodness.
No, I'm struggling with that one. Yeah. And I'm really strong usually through a lot of this. I've been, you know, you know, I've been okay for the most part, but that was really struggling for me because, especially with what was said in trial, this past trial that the last trial actually that we just had, 2 Fridays ago now. I just wonder how she's being treated.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't spoke with her or seen her except for 5 minutes in November at a hearing
right
to my daughter. You know what I mean? So I just wonder how they're treating her.
Did she have eye contact with you? Did she look at you at all?
Well, not when she was giving testimony, but we did talk prior to it, and she made some, but I don't know. It was a weird conversation, and the GAL was there, and she was on Zoom at her house, probably with her stepmom in the background. So, you know, it wasn't a comfortable conversation, you know, like.
Right. And I'm sure it was not comfortable for her either, because with people around and thinking that she's probably being recorded, and who knows if they prompted her to say or what not to say. So she's under a lot of pressure herself.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Mhm.
Yeah. So, we had our final trial, and that was interesting. I think that went pretty well. Have you heard the recordings?
No, I haven't. Have you sent them to JC? I really would like to.
Dottie, would you send me the link for the latest video that we were talking about? I can't seem to find it.
Okay.
Let's see.
So JC helped me prep for court.
Yeah.
This last time, and I'm so thankful for him. Except for I got so excited about what I was doing. At one point, I forgot to do my opening statement.
Well, you sent me a few links, but I couldn't open them, so I'm not sure what the issue is. But yeah, it's really hard to remember everything when you're in court. It really is.
Yeah, so
challenging.
I forgot to do that because I was so excited about what I was doing, because I was moving in law, which was wonderful, and I was prepared and I was ready, and I forgot to do that. But I did prove that they unlawfully took my daughter on the record in court that day. I proved that he was lying on the stand under oath. I proved that they had to know about these crimes that were being committed against us, you know, in court. And I still don't have an answer. My daughter's not back home with me. I just sent the link. So it's
when you say he, you're referring to Dee's dad, right?
Yeah, he still has her. Yeah, she's with her. Well, okay, that's become questionable now too. Again, like okay, I get school records, so she's going to school, but she had testified in November that she got out of the treatment facility that has the class action lawsuit on for child labor.
Oh, okay.
She said that she got out in the beginning of July. Well, at trial on Friday, her father stated that he went and picked her up from the facility on April 1st, which I don't understand why they were making a point to say April 1st at the trial, at the second half of trial, when she testified to something else. And that's been everybody's story, was beginning of July, for them to change it to April 1st, because that would make her either had been there in that facility for the last year,
right?
Or because the last time she called home was March 31st of 2021. They said April 1st, never gave it a year. And I didn't really catch the question and everything. There's so much going on in court, but it was after the fact, when I was listening, that I realized that they were saying that he got her on April 1st. So I don't know. It's on the record both ways, the court's record. So
yeah, is this where you is this where you had asked him questions about did he know that this was a facility that had a class action lawsuit and was known for trafficking children?
Right. Yes.
It was awesome, the questions that you asked. So I did hear excerpts. It was incredible the way you were able to perform law and ask him those questions so calmly. I was so proud of you.
Thank you.
Blew me away.
There was a few moments where the judge was like, now you two, like, because the kind of bickering would get in the, you know, so, but I would have to like just kind of like recoup myself and go back to because I had my notes, go back to my notes and remember what I was doing. By the end of trial, I did try to subpoena the attorney, Kathleen Shaw, to take the stand, and they wouldn't allow me to move in law. They stopped me. They wouldn't let me subpoena her. They give me a bunch of excuses of why not. But because of the unlawful TOR, where my daughter ended up, them knowing it, they didn't like what I was proving lawfully. You know?
Exactly.
That they couldn't deny, but they did deny me. That's just it. That's how unlawful they have become in these court.
Yeah, but they don't actually admit to anything.
No, but if you want to watched this little clip from the last trial. This is me questioning James. He's on the stand. I'm asking him about the facility he sent my daughter to. If he knew that they had the class action lawsuit before he sent her, or if he found out after she had already was there or gone from there. And the judge really tries to stop me in this clip too. He doesn't want, he doesn't want, he's like, you don't have to answer that at first. Wow. Do you have it ready, Stephen?
It's going to be a few minutes. It's still downloading on YouTube. Let me try a low resolution.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so he states on the record in court that he knew about it and that he sent her there anyway. And then I asked him if he could define child trafficking for me, and he couldn't define child trafficking.
Wow.
Yeah, so then I asked him if he didn't know what child trafficking was, and that he sent her to a place knowing that they had a lawsuit for this. How do you know you've never participated in it?
Yeah, I thought there were two class action lawsuits going on over there in that facility, but
is there?
You know, Dottie, we could play some of the audio if you'd like while we're waiting.
Huh?
We could play some of the audio for our viewers of the hearing while we're waiting for the video to finish.
That's fine.
Let's do that. But go ahead and finish up your thought, and then I'll put it on whenever you guys are done talking. Sorry, I didn't mean to interject.
No, but it's proven in court, and he still has her. I still don't have my child. And then the guardian ad litem, which we know usually they go with the guardian ad litem's recommendation.
Right.
It's the way the game plays, it's the whole play out. She recommended him to have sole legal and physical custody because I alienate him from Delilah. I alienate him from his daughter.
And was she able to prove any of that? I mean, what proof did she have? Of course not.
They had no evidence of anything that they claimed on any of the questions, basically. They produced nothing. Like, I asked him in court, where's your evidence of this? Oh, I can get it for you. I can get it to you. But never anything put on the record or put into the, And then no cross-examine. I had a couple witnesses and there was no cross-examination. She didn't even cross-examine me. So it's like, they're not even trying to make their money. You know what I mean? Like,
I was on the phone last night with somebody for a few hours who is talking about the GAL, the guardian ad litem, that the two of her grandchildren have, and that the judge was a guardian ad litem, and she, God forbid I talked a little bit about your case because she wouldn't be able to handle it. She had complete and total belief that the guardian ad litem is doing everything she can, the best that she can for the grandchildren, and it's very hard. It's very hard to
watch somebody be tricked like that. And
you can only tell people certain things in increments as they're going along because they've been so programmed into the system that the system is going to take care of that. Child Protective Service is there to protect the children. And I'm having to go step by step with this grandma who's trying to get custody of the two grandchildren. And rightly so, especially in this particular situation.
Well, they automatically should have went to the family in the first place if they were taken, like that is supposed to be the first option, is
supposed to be
to a family member, not into CPS care to somebody.
Exactly.
And if there's a grandmother willing to take, why there's not even an argument, that's where they should be.
Well, you would think so, but they're actually have already put the children in the hands of their father who has not seen them. Who the dad has not seen them their whole life.
Right.
And as soon as, and this is a really sad thing, and you'll understand this, is that after like 5 or 6 years, the single mom really needed some finances, and she went after him through the DSS to get child support, and that woke up the sleeping giant.
That was her mistake.
That was her mistake.
Mine too.
and it was
same mistake.
Same mistake. And she just had full confidence and faith that he didn't want the children. He never would want the 2 kids. So that set off, that awakened the sleepy giant. And now in small, tiny increments, I'm talking to this grandma about, the corruptness of the system. And that's right here in Buncombe County. So, yeah. That opened up a big can of worms, and it's really painful to watch her go through this process and try to help her. And she has an attorney.
Right.
A guardian ad litem who's also a GLL, and she has full confidence that they're going to protect the children. And
Aren't
it hasn't
also
happened
trying
yet.
to break up the family property.
This is that's an Allen's case. This is another case
this is a different case.
this is a brand new
Goodness.
case that called me.
Oh goodness, yeah. Well, they're never ending.
They're never ending, right? It's sad to
People
say.
don't know. People don't know. They're not aware. They don't believe it. They don't think it'll happen to them. Whatever they think, they keep walking into these courthouses and doing the same thing and getting, being tricked. And I always say that the corrupt court system and the narcissistic parent are like just like in love the minute they see each other. They're like, oh, like go, lights just start shining for them. They're like, oh, there you are.
And they're
right
lovers.
on.
The clouds open up and the light.
They're using each other. You got 2 ends.
Yeah.
They're feeding off each other.
Codependency, codependency to the max.
And you get caught in the middle of that, It's like you're right. But that's how it is. It's like they play both sides of that coin that is being played. That's how I've always felt through this.
Yeah, and it's really hard to talk to this grandma also about this attorney that she just gave another $2,500 to 2 nights ago, because the attorney said Wednesday is court, and I'm not walking into court without $2,500 more, an additional $2,500.
That's terrible.
It's just really terrible. And I said to her, do you have a contract? Do you know what they're going to do? I mean, what's the strategy? Can you let her know that these are the certain, and it's about custody on Wednesday. It went through, they pushed it through the courts so quickly that everybody's mind is just spinning.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah. That they have an agenda that they're pushing that's bigger than just these, just what we think is just custody battle. It's a bigger
tragic
agenda. Yeah, they are, they're trying to get us to where we own nothing and are happy.
Yeah, screw that. Screw that. What's there to be happy about if we own nothing? Like, no, I'm so sorry, but you don't get to take people's liberties or freedoms and then expect everybody to be okay with that.
But they're
one of
trying
the
to
things,
customize it.
and one of the things that, bless me, that monarch says is once they take away one of your children, it is so much easier for them to continue to take child after child away.
Yeah, and he lost a lot that way.
Yes.
8 children that way.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah. 8 children. They come and take 8 of them. My God. That's 8 times the heartbreak.
Yeah, right there in the hospital when, his wife's giving birth. They're right there.
They're right by her, catching the baby, taking it, right?
Yeah, it's
basically,
horrible.
You will own nothing. That includes your children.
I've got that audio, Angie. Which part do you want to start off with for a viewer?
Oh, he talks about it in the beginning, or are you just talking about my court?
No, I'm talking about your audio in general. I have your actual audio clips that he featured in that. It's about halfway done. Well, that's at 60%. It should be done shortly, but what part do you want to play of your video while we're waiting? Or your audio, I mean.
Oh, you can play like, you can start somewhere in the beginning, because his lawyer starts talking to him in the beginning about Trinity Teen Solutions.
Okay.
So I don't know if
is there a portion of it before you actually get into court while you're walking, or no?
No, just I would go a few minutes in.
A few minutes, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I try to impeach Delilah's testimony off the record. He said he'd take it into advisement.
Alrighty, so.
And then we go straight into his lawyer questioning him.
Can y'all hear that?
Yes.
Heard a trial on a motion to modify back in August of 2020, correct?
Yes.
She rendered a decision, correct?
Yes.
Granted you physical custody of your daughter, correct?
Yes.
You and Angela agreed to exercise joint legal custody of decision-making, correct?
Yes.
And since the time of the judgment, James, has Delilah's mother cooperated in co-parenting and joint decision-making with you?
No, she has not.
An example would be Christmas of 2020,
Yes.
and you have to speak audibly, a nod or a shake.
Is that you jotting shit down, Dottie, in the audio?
Yeah.
It was your Christmas break the first time.
I was study writing.
According to the judgment, correct?
I think it was, I had Christmas visitation with Delilah at that time.
Correct. And because it was Angela's birthday on December 25th, did you come to a decision to allow Delilah to come to be in St. Louis with her mother for Christmas of 2020?
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea. Maybe she could get a little extra time with her mother, considering the fact that we live such great distance away from each other.
Okay. And did you ask for an itinerary and the flight schedule for Delilah's flight to St. Louis and the return to Bozeman, Montana?
Yes, I did.
And you received just the first part of the travel, correct?
Yes.
Did you ask for the second return trip itinerary?
Yes, I did.
Did Angela cooperate with you and send that to you?
No, it was some heartache.
You had asked that Delilah return to you on or before the 2nd of January, correct?
Yes, I asked her just to send her a day home early so we could have Christmas together.
So that you and your family could celebrate the Christmas holiday and exchange gifts the day before school resumed.
Correct.
On the 2nd, did she return Delilah?
No.
Did she buy a ticket to your information and belief?
No, she did not. I did some discovery and found out she didn't purchase a ticket at all.
So, was there a period when you had to come to St. Louis in January to try to retrieve Delilah?
Yes.
Was there great tumult and police involvement in trying to get Delilah back into your custody?
Yes, I had spoken with several officers. I can't recall other names at the time.
Okay.
The ones that came with the unlawful TRO. That's what he's talking about.
Ms. Freiner cooperate in getting Delilah into your custody?
No.
Go ahead again for our viewers. Dottie, tell them what he was talking
The
about.
police officers, the reference there in court is the Popo video you watched where they came to my home with an unlawful order and was demanding to take my child.
Okay.
When they were trying to kidnap her.
Okay, cool.
That's what
All
they're
right, so we have
referring to in
context for
court.
that. Yeah. Like, I mean, I just noticed that just in this little bit of audio, about that plane ticket. Wasn't that what referring to what you showed me before? I think when we were going over your
and
case.
that's one way I was able to prove he was lying under oath on the stand was I produced the plane ticket receipt in court that day, and it went on the record. The judge took it, so
wow,
that's there, and he still has my child.
Was he under oath?
Yes.
And so you wonder why is there not any when they lie under oath, why doesn't the judge bust them on perjury? That always blows my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're caught in a lie. And didn't he say or she asked a question about coming back into your custody? What does she mean by coming back? Did he have prior custody? I mean, that's a little confusing when she said that.
They're talking about when she came home for Christmas and refused to go back. And that we had that February 10th court hearing when they forced her into the mental ward and me into jail to take
all
her.
right. So she's not talking about legal custody. She's talking about.
Well, we still have 50-50 custody at this time.
Okay.
But the judge had moved her primary residence from my home to his home against my wishes and her will.
Wow.
Right. So she was for 6 months, she had been there with him since the court hearing, in August of 2020. And she come home and didn't want to go back. She didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
And so that is what they did. That was the aftermath of her not wanting to go back to her dad's home, was the mental ward, the being taken out to Arizona and then to the facility for the child trafficking and labor in Wyoming. That was the repercussions of her not wanting to go back to her dad's. That's, I guess, punishment.
Wow.
That's
so
what
tough.
happened. And I haven't seen her since that court date. That was the last time I seen her.
All right, so let's
Hi,
continue.
everybody.
Hey,
Hi,
Jen, how you
Dottie.
doing?
Hey, so, and that was after the court hearing, correct? I had to back out and come back in, so I missed a little bit.
Oh,
That
you're
was
fine.
after the hearing that she had spoken about not wanting to go back, correct?
Yeah.
This is
Yes,
after, okay.
this is from the most recent hearing.
Oh, okay, the recent one, okay.
Yeah, the
All
one
right.
we're playing
Yeah,
right
this
now
was
is,
the final trial. Like, we're waiting on the judgment to come in from the judge.
So
We
you're,
still don't know.
You still haven't
you're
heard anything
waiting
yet,
for-
Dottie?
No, I still don't know anything. I don't have because they recommended sole custody. So this is the final trial basically to find out if I'm going to lose my custody.
is this maybe your parental rights as well? Do you think they're going to incorporate that
They,
in this?
it's for sole legal and sole physical.
Okay, oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And yeah, this
Did
is
you
the
have to
final
file in the circuit court to compel Ms. Freiner to deliver Delilah to your custody?
Yes.
Were there several court appearances for that?
Yes.
Were there times when Ms. Freiner didn't show up?
Yes.
Ultimately, on February 7th, Delilah was given the option to go to Children's Hospital. Do you recall that?
Yes, I think that was more of my decision, though.
Okay. The judge compelled Ms. Freiner to deliver Delilah to you, and you thought it was best that Delilah have some intervention medically.
Yeah, she was making a suicidal threat, so I thought I didn't want to take it lightly, so I thought maybe she should get evaluated.
Did you think she was really suicidal, James?
Absolutely not.
But out of the abundance of caution, you thought it would be best for her to be evaluated.
Yes, ma'am.
And the police officers here in St. Louis County took Delilah to Children's Hospital, correct?
Yes.
Upon being admitted to Children's Hospital, was a drug test performed.
Correct.
And was Delilah under the influences of drugs when she arrived at Children's Hospital?
Yes, she was.
Do the medical records so state that she was, that methamphetamines were in her system?
Yes.
As well as marijuana?
Correct.
Do you use drugs?
No, I do not.
Does anyone in your family use drugs?
No.
Is Delilah ever allowed to use drugs while
No.
in your custody? Has she ever used drugs while in your custody?
No.
And when she arrived in St. Louis on December 18th of 2020, she was not under the influence of any drugs. Is that true?
I'm sorry. I think I lost you there.
Yeah, December of 2020,
Uh-huh.
when Delilah came for her Christmas trip to be with her mother on Bozeman to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling the story too fast. Slow down.
Drugs.
Yes, that is correct. Sorry for
Okay,
this
that's How long did she stay at Children's Hospital, to the best of your information?
It was 23 days.
All right. And then were you searching for her to go into a residential program?
Yes, I was during that time.
And was there one available immediately?
No, we had to wait a month
And
after she got out.
did you and, right there, did Delilah and her physicians consult with you and or Angela, if you know, regarding what would happen between the Children's Hospital discharge and the beginning of the residential program?
She was to go with her. She wanted to go visit her uncle, and I thought she was being uncooperative going with me, so we thought it was best that she just go stay with her uncle. She was all about it and wanted to go spend some time with him, and we thought it was a good opportunity for them to continue the relationship, and then she would stay there for a month and then continue to the treatment facility.
And that uncle is Uncle David, your brother?
Correct.
And did she then travel to Arizona with Uncle David?
Yeah, he flew out and picked her up.
Uncle David's flew to St. Louis from where?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Where he resides.
Correct.
And he took her to Phoenix while we waited for the residential facility to have an opening, correct?
Yes.
Delilah went to the residential facility then, correct?
Yes.
And she stayed for how long?
She stayed there, she went in March and then until April 1st.
Thank you. And April 1st, she went where?
And she came home with me.
Did Delilah have a
April 1st of
successful
what year?
treatment at the treatment center?
Yes, she had a dramatic change and I think she had a whole new outlook in life.
And the name of that treatment facility, James?
Trinity Teen Solutions.
And she did the hard work of working on her relationship with you
Yes,
and staying sober and not using drugs.
correct.
And she's been in your custody since.
Yes.
And she attends what high school?
She goes to Gallatin High School now.
At the time that the previous judge entered her judgment in August of 2020, Delilah was beginning what year of high school?
That was her freshman year.
Okay. And now she is in what year?
She's a sophomore now.
How is she doing at Gallatin High School, James?
I have to say I'm very proud of her. She has a GPA, I believe, 3.45, and she has all A's and B's. And minus her geometry she struggles with, but that's a C.
And she's doing well?
Correct.
Is this salary
She
hers?
has a counselor.
Yes.
She has a counselor with whom she is working closely in Montana?
Correct, yeah, it's just a mile up the road.
Does she have regular appointments or is it as needed?
It's regular appointments, once a week.
Beautiful, thank you. Has she had any absentee problems from school?
Just minor things, just besides being sick, but no. She's,
No problems though?
No.
And
She's not ditching school or anything, if that's what you mean.
And does she have any social problems at school?
Absolutely not. She's a social butterfly.
Wonderful. And she was a homecoming nominee?
Yes, she was.
And she participated in a play?
Yes.
When she
We are going to show you this video. Does this start his testimony here? Angie?
I'm not sure. Like, it's a few minutes in.
Okay. Let me find it real quick for our viewers and then we'll start it, okay?
Okay. This video just came out. Do you remember when he put this one out? What day it was? Oracle?
It was a few days ago, wasn't it? April 21st, I believe.
Okay. But in that audio, if you noticed, he said April 1st.
Yep.
So I don't know.
He said from March to April 1st.
Yeah.
And then April 1st, she was home with Dad.
Yeah. So she's been in that facility for the last year. So all that stuff and all those other hearings was a lie when, where was she when I seen her on the WebEx then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it just, where's my daughter been the last year?
Mm-hmm.
Is it at the beginning? You said towards the beginning of the video or the end? Because you said something about his testimony whenever he was that he put in that video, right? James?
It's in the beginning of his video.
It's in the beginning. Okay, let's start the share on that. Then I'll just start it from like maybe about 40 seconds in. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I don't know how long she was there.
So,
I don't know.
Just to get into children and their future, let me introduce you to Angela Freiner.
Did you know that Trinity Teen Solution had a class action lawsuit for child laboring and trafficking?
There's been a lot of bad things said about that place, but I thought it was a great experience from what I felt. So I like to base my own experiences from my own opinion.
Were you aware that they had a class action lawsuit for child laboring and child trafficking?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay, relevance.
It's not
Those
hearsay.
are all, I mean, you already asked him the question and he told you about it. So go ahead, get something else.
I made it
You're
right.
done. You're done. Mrs. Freiner, do you have any more questions?
I just want to know if he was aware of it before he placed
said he
Delilah.
was. So,
Before placing her there? I don't know if he answered that.
all right. Were you aware about this class action before you placed her there?
I read a lot of things, like I said, and it suited what I was trying to do with Delilah, and I thought it was a good place for her to be there. So I ignored it.
So you were aware that it was happening?
Yeah, I didn't believe it.
Okay. Do you feel that that's okay to put your child in a place like that?
Like I said, I felt that was the best solution for Delilah at that time.
Yep. You heard it correctly. In an open court of law, supposedly, for all of you people who believe that the state can create law for you, in an open court of the kangaroo state law, this dad, this father, openly admits to sending his daughter to a child trafficking center, allegedly, a place that is getting sued in federal court for child trafficking. And he testified it was okay because it worked out really, really well for him. And I'm so glad it worked out really, really well for him. I'm even more ecstatic that nobody in society really cares that much to make it right. Because even after that testimony, the court would not order D-Love back to Miss Freiner, to our angel. Is absolutely insane. So, for all of you people in North Carolina, and I really, really hope you are following and watching what's going on with Alan's case. I really do. Because I'm going to show you a little bit of insight of where it's going, because we've already been down this road before. I'm going to play you something I made a year ago, April 4th of last year. This is for Easter, last year, 2021. This was about the last time.
Isn't this the one we played earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't need to go over that. Is there any other portions of this you want to play for our viewers before we segue into discussion?
Well, you could play after that video. He talks a little bit more.
All right, hold up 1 second here.
James's answer was it was the best solution for D. That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was very disturbing to me how nonchalant he was about it. It's like, yeah, I sent her there.
Is it right here, Angie? Can you see that? I think it was like right here. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was crazy.
And how is it hearsay when there's actually a court docket?
Yeah.
That's not hearsay. That's actually real. I mean, wow. Okay.
Officer got caught sending an email telling the attorneys everything was going to be fine because he talked to his buddies down at the Bar Association and the lawsuit would be dropped. And you know what? We know it has been because guess what? The lawsuit was dropped. Angela Freiner got arrested, is looking at years in prison for felonies, for releasing the audio, and they say threatening the judge because she said there's consequences to actions. To try and bring you the truth. If you believe that you should follow that worldly power, if you believe that you should follow those gods, be my guest. Just don't try and push them on me. The gods I follow, the powers I follow, the creator I follow. There was a celebration for them last week. It was called Easter. You might have heard of it. And Alan Smith, who's going through a very similar situation except different in North Carolina. That's absolutely provable if we could just get a court of law. If anybody in the public were interested enough in a court of law, we could easily prove all of this stuff.
And therein lies the problem. I just want to state for our viewers, that's the problem we're having, why nobody can get any justice and why this is continuing to be allowed to go on, is because they're all complicit in this. The whole court system has become corrupt to where they're all racketeering with our kids, people. So I want to make that clear. You know, we're not getting any justice because they're all in on it. They're all part of it.
And are there federal laws against child trafficking?
There are, but I mean, where the heck is all the, you know, all the accountability? Because it's sure, you know, from my perspective, it sure looks like it goes all the way to the top too at this point.
Well, and in the previous video, they were laughing about it when they were the video that was released where they're laughing about it and said that they should call themselves, you know, what is it, Kids for Cash LLC.
Yeah.
How disgusting that is.
It's very disgusting. You know, you don't laugh like that
they all chuckle.
unless you got the narcissistic mindset. That's not a laughing matter. That's a serious matter.
Mind you, both of the GALs on my case were on that call.
Oh, it's horrible.
The first one and the second one, both GALs were on that Zoom call. But I'm crazy to think that something's going on with my child.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's so bad. The whole system is just screwed.
Everything's fine. I'm the one on drugs. I'm the crazy one but everything's okay.
He painted himself in a super positive light, like he was like the star dad of the year, and that he was so great. Yes, and how great she was doing, and her GPA, and that she was going to be, you know, all this superficial stuff that she was, but she was already that with you. She was, and you could clearly see that, and you could clearly feel that, and just by listening to her earlier. It was very sad, and it really just I could feel it and sense it. She was suffering, and nobody was listening to her, and she just told the judge how it was, and then she got thrown in that kind of environment.
And then they immediately put her on pills. They started drugging her.
So she was the criminal for exposing the crimes committed by these criminals.
So wasn't it earlier that they said that it was methamphetamine and marijuana was found in her in the testing? Is that how this all started with they're saying that this is what happened?
No, that's not why she got put there.
Because it was 23 days. What she's asking is that where they tried to use it as an excuse.
And the only reason she was there that long was because she refused to go home with her dad. She was put there because she would not go home with her dad.
Yeah, but
one of the things, me in jail.
Right.
And took my custody. So that's how she ended up there. Then they ran with this drug testing. But I have recordings of James setting this up like a year before, a phone call with James, where I'm like, you're trying to say our daughter's on drugs just to take her from me? I'm like calling it out, you know, like conversation with him. And
we should air that audio on the next episode.
I get really mad. I'm like, what, is she on drugs? You know something I don't know? And I'm getting really mad. And then here I see it playing out a year later.
Yeah, that's where it all started. And, and then he goes into right after that where she was 23 days in Children's Hospital. And then they had to wait a month for the residential program. And then the Uncle David came from Arizona for Phoenix and had her for a month until the treatment facility the residential program was able to accept her in there. Those are the notes that I had made about what he was saying and how great she was doing in school with the 3.45 A's and B's. And then asked about absenteeism, and he said, no, it's just very minor. Every once in a while she gets sick, and I guess you don't have any access to any of those records, school
I finally
records.
got access.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. And so it said 51 days absent, but I think is what it is. It's a added of all of her classes. So even that, I don't know. So she's missed quite a bit of school, in my opinion.
Yep. And he uses the word minor.
Yeah.
Just, minor days.
Yeah. So I don't know. So you'd have to add up all our classes. It's like, I don't know, 51 absence, 7 classes a day. I don't know if, you know what I mean? So, but I think there was like 11 absence in one class on the list going down it, but it was more in the one class I noticed than any other classes. But I questioned that because he said she came back April 1st.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, how is she in class? Like, how are they? It doesn't
make any sense.
It doesn't add up. And it's their testimony, like this, nobody's making them say all this stuff. Like, like they're just saying this,
they're testifying under the penalty of perjury, nonetheless.
Well, they kept all the other hearings that we had. It was always, she was back in Montana in July. And then this final trial for custody, he says April, which would have just meant that she just got back there. Like, where's she been this whole time then?
Right, exactly.
Because March 31st of last year is the last time she called home. Mm. And so she was there a day? That doesn't make sense. So why would they out of nowhere put in this April 1st date? So I don't know. I don't know where my daughter's been.
Not adding up.
Yeah, something don't add up.
Mm-hmm. No.
And I cannot get the records to the facility from Wyoming, the Trinity Teen Solution, the children's facility place she was at. Like, right. They will not give me records for anything.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Jesus, that's horrible. So do you want to tell a kind of like, was there any more of that video we wanted to play or that, or no?
I don't think so. Not too much after that.
Well, let me just make a comment on this, and that was one of the things that they're saying is you had said that there's consequences to to your actions. Was that it?
Yeah, consequences. Yeah, for your conduct.
So when I look up in the Webster's 1828 dictionary, which is what we all go by and what the legal society looks at, there isn't anything under the word consequence that has to do with violence.
I noticed that myself.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And in fact, if we look at number 3, it says it's a connection of cause and effect.
Yeah, yeah.
And just above that, under number 2, it says that man, or in this case, woman or man, is accountable to his maker. So, I think, I think that they're not only really paranoid about
their own guilt.
anyone.
That's their own guilt coming out.
That too.
They're trying to deflect it onto me.
Well, that too, and looking for any excuse, certainly to make the parents. Oh, hold on a second. I think that's John calling me out. Just give me a second, okay? I'll be right back.
They're charged me with the judge charge, Jennifer.
Yeah. They're so, wow.
That's coming up. That trial's in June. June 1st. So
Yeah,
they
now
went
I've got
7 years for
more.
that.
I've got more of a bigger picture. Like I knew, I kind of had an idea, but like now it's really clarifying things. It's made it all clear to where it all makes sense. Because before, like some of the things were a little leery, or not leery. They were not on your part, but they were. I didn't quite understand, but now I do. And like
Yeah.
I'm with you. It sounds like she just what did she just get back? Where has she been the last
Yeah,
year then?
you don't have to have video. All
I
right,
don't know
bye-bye.
exactly.
I'll
I
tell
haven't
them now.
talked to her.
Bye-bye.
They don't let me
Oh
talk to
my
her.
gosh. Like you don't know and I mean you're right. You
He
still
later
have
Guess
on.
who's
the
no
right.
longer MIA?
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so I told him I'll send the link. He's going to try to get on right now.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and send the link on that. That way, John always has something good that we could hear.
Yeah.
So and Angela, you still have 50-50, right? So you still have rights to a record, you have rights to everything.
Well, from the judgment in August, but then they have that unlawful TRO that's keeping her from me. Like,
right.
So
Okay.
they took my custody in that unlawful TRO.
Right.
And
Okay.
they know it was unlawful, and they know they know this is unlawful. Like they know, they're well aware what they're doing.
I think that's why they're covering their crimes.
So they, they kidnapped my
to.
daughter for a price.
Yeah.
James says about 50,000 in court.
Jeez.
Is what he's
Oh,
paid
God.
out. So I guess that's what he's paid, to do this. Yeah, I mean,
And then they're trying to jail you for like letting that recording leak. Is that right? Did I hear that
trying
right?
to stop. Well, I emailed the judge. That's what they're using against me, but it was because I called her out. Like I released that audio, like she didn't like what I did.
Right.
Retaliation,
Well, why would she? Because it just shows how much of a criminal she is. So, it compromises her abusing and the legal system, the power, or what is that? The
overreach for.
Yeah, the overreach and the abuse of power in the court system.
It definitely is an abuse of power that
yes,
for
is going
sure.
on all over. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as John says, it also has a lot to do with, of course, not in your case, Angie, but a lot of people are so ignorant of the law. They don't really know true law, and they don't really know when they're being sugared, taken advantage of, snowed under. They just don't. They're so afraid.
They trick you so every like every turn you make, they trick you to get jurisdiction of you. Like, so, you accidentally give them that at some point when you don't see it, like you don't know that what they're doing. You're not aware of it.
As John says, they're always tricking you into coming into contract with them.
Exactly.
And the moment you come in, and it's very subtle. The last time we went to court, the time before last, we were in court with Alan. Because I've been going to every single hearing for, it's about over a year.
Oh, JC just jumped on, folks. So
good.
Here.
There you go.
How you doing, JC?
Unmute yourself. Is he muted?
No, he's not muted. Maybe his mic, he's got to configure
Probably
his
getting
audio.
his mic going. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we're not taught our rights in school, so they can violate them.
Yes.
Hey, can you hear me now?
We can. Yes, we can.
Okay,
Thank
sorry
you for joining
about
us.
that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, my microphone was muted. I just plugged in this microphone. I just got this microphone from a generous donation of the creator, just $240 popped up, and I got a microphone and a boom, which will greatly help me increase my production on teaching people on how law works. Because I can show them straight out of the law books. I can show them straight out of exactly where I learned from, and then all I got to do is explain the theory, the idea of how it actually works. So at that point, I'm really good, like I'm actually really good at explaining to people the very simplicity of law, because if law were not incredibly simple, then people could not have followed it for the past 2,000 years.
Well, and it's the truth.
No worries.
Basically, it's the truth.
It is, and
It's that simple.
it's a shame we're that they make it so complicated for everybody to understand. But people need to be aware of this stuff. We need to stop delegating our power away to these these so-called representatives that are representing us, and start doing our own due diligence. Because at this point, this is the only way we're going to get any kind of justice.
All right, well, I'm glad that you brought up that representation and the lawyers.
Yeah.
Like I'll allow people to call me a lawyer. Like I'd allow Angie or Dottie to call me a lawyer because they're, we know each other like that. But I don't just let anybody call me a lawyer, and I don't allow anybody ever to call me an attorney. I never turn people over to the courts, ever. And that's what an attorney does. And I can show you that. I can show you it right now if I could share my screen. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Let me enable for multiple participants. Sorry, I should have done that at the beginning of the show. Go ahead. You should be good.
All right. Well, I gotta find it.
All right, take your time.
Let me see here. Representation of persons. How do I share this?
Hit the share screen button.
The share.
On the
It's
Zoom.
in the middle. I think it's in the middle in between start video and participants.
It should be right next to chat, and if you're on mobile, it should be click the more option. It should bring it up.
Oh, on my screen, it's the third one, the third icon in. So maybe it's,
and it's a little different on everybody's depending upon the device.
Right. But I also wanted to include, the courts need to open their doors and make it publicly known what they're doing behind closed doors.
Okay. I don't know exactly how to share this, but I'll read this and I can send this image to Ange for her to put up somewhere.
Sounds good to me.
I just don't know how to do it right now, but this is straight out of the law book. It says representation of persons, a fiction of the law, a fiction, something that's made up in the mind, created by the mind, created solely for the imagination of man. A fiction. And if you think about this image nation, right? Where does the fiction comes from? It comes from your imagination. Where's your imagination come from? It comes from the image of the nation in which you inhabit. Okay, think about those things. Anyways, representation of persons, a fiction of the law, the effect of which is to put the representative in the place, decree, or right of the person represented. Okay, so as soon as you say that, like everybody, I'm sure everybody who's on this call has been in this situation where it says, okay, you're coming to court, you don't got an attorney. Do you wish to represent yourself? Do you wish to go get an attorney? Or do you wish to us appoint you attorney? Right? Well, as soon as you take one of those three options, they got you. And let me tell you exactly why. I got this case law pulled up because somebody earlier called me. I'm about to take this marijuana case out in Colorado. I'm very, very proud of. I've been working on this gentleman for a week or two, but he's about to come and join the co-conspiracy. And let me get right down here because I'm going to tell you exactly how a jurisdiction is established. So everybody, you might want to start taking some notes, get your pen, get your recording device ready, because I'm about to give some secrets that you're only going to have to pay for after this episode is aired. And right here it says, in considering this procedure under the Due Process Clause, we recognize, as we have in other cases, this is straight from the Supreme Court. So under the Due Process Clause, they're going to recognize this as they have in other cases, all of them leading up to 1961, which is when this case was announced. That due process of law does not require a hearing in every conceivable case of government impairment of private interests. Well, that's pretty interesting. So how do we establish jurisdiction under due process of law? Because they tell you in the very, very next sentence here, They say that case explained that the very nature of due process negates any concept of inflexible procedurals universally applicable to every imaginable situation, and firmly establish that, and let me just go ahead and break this down to everybody, because I know that a lot of people are probably not understanding what the Supreme Court's saying right here. But what they're saying is that anytime you have due process that follows a uniform procedure, okay, a natural procedure, the very nature of due process negates any concept of inflexible procedures, universally acceptable, okay? So I'm going to apply this to my own case where I was arrested for not driving without a license I didn't know I had. And I know that Angie loves when I should comment about that, but they put me into a scenario where they said, hey, are you guilty or are you not guilty? Well, I don't know if I'm guilty or not guilty. Why don't you explain the charges to me? Because if you want to say I was guilty of driving without a license, I absolutely was, but I was not guilty of knowing about it, you know? So why don't I have this flexibility, as they would say in this case law right here, to say, okay, I was guilty of not driving without a license, but I didn't know I didn't have a license. Let me plead, I didn't know I didn't have a license, right? And we don't even got to go into the issue of the fact that the cop didn't actually catch me driving. we don't even have to go there. Let me just plead that I didn't know I had a license, but yeah, I was driving without one. I would absolutely do that because I'm an honest man. Anyways, it goes on to say what procedures due process may require under any given set of circumstance, under any circumstance, any that you could think of, any that man has imagined throughout the history of time and mankind. Throughout any of those circumstances, what procedure has to apply? And this is firmly, it says right here, firmly established by what procedures due process may require under any given set of circumstances. This is from Gilbert versus Kelly, ID dot comma at 895 comma 81 space capital S dot capital C dot T, which means it came out of the state of Connecticut, dot comma at 1748, which means it happened in 1748. Okay. What procedure due process may require under any given set of circumstances must begin. We got to start off from this point right here. We can't start off any other way. Okay, with the determination of the precise nature of the government function involved, as well as of the private interest that has been affected by governmental action. And let me just explain that to people in English. And that is, if you do not have somebody coming with a verified complaint, with a verified action against you, okay, if you don't have a man or a woman saying that man, JC, that woman, Angela Freiner, they did something wrong to me that I can articulate in a court of law. If you do not have that, then the government has no business being in that action. And if the government is in that action, the only thing they could be doing, the only thing they could do is interfere with your rights. That's it. And that is the first step of due process of law.
People don't know that. And
people need to know that. People need to know that.
This is what we're trying to teach people, because I'm going to say right now, like I watched a man this past year walk into a court, lay down a declaration, and the judge, the judicial officer, did not know what he was doing. That scares the crap out of me, because this man walks up into a court, he lays down a declaration. Anybody on this call with a Matlock degree would know what he was saying was firsthand information. And anything that came after that, unless it was verified by a man or a woman who was there with firsthand knowledge, was just hearsay. And the judge didn't know what he was doing. And that's what scares me, is that the judiciary doesn't know what their duties and functions are. I know this jurisdiction really well. So I know that somebody had to take this man to the side, because I heard a couple of hearings after this, but I know that somebody had to take this man aside and say, here's what's going on in law. And that scares the crap out of me, because the judicial officer should know what the law is.
You're right, he should. It's very scary when you have a court system where the people that are running it don't know the law. They only like, or to some extent, like, I mean, because I'm pretty sure that's pretty rampant, and that's just a regular example of what you witnessed recently. Just imagine how bad it is everywhere else, like around the country, not just but around the country, and the state courts, local county courts, and probably even some of the federal.
Well, actually, I would say I've never ever seen the federal court break the law until Oracle took my habeas to them. And the only reason, in my opinion, that they broke the law is because if they would have taken the evidence that Oracle was filing, they would have had to have, by their oath and affirmation to the judiciary of a federal court system, they would have had to sworn out a warrant for the judiciary that put me behind bars because he kidnapped me. It would have been really plain and simple. And this goes a lot along the lines with what happened to Angela, because I've never seen a case of what happened to Angela anywhere else. I've never seen a case where Angela calls me up and she says, John, JC, I think I know where my daughter is. Well, where's D-Love, Ange? Well, I think she's in this place that's getting sued for trafficking children. Well, just go to the court, Ange, and ask them for proof of life. And she followed all the instructions. She went to court. She asked for proof of life, and they would not give her proof of life.
Yep. The judge told me he did not know where my daughter was.
Come on, people. Kidnappers give you proof of life.
I know.
They're they're testifying on the record that he didn't get her back till April 1st. Like, where has my daughter been? What's going on? Mm-hmm. Something's wrong.
Yeah, something's definitely hanky with that.
Something's definitely hanky with that. But at the same time, Angela got the court to start moving.
Yeah.
They started
she
doing
did a fire
something.
under their ass. She sure did that. That's okay.
Well, she's got that bully strut.
Right.
But at the same time,
she don't play.
They weren't going to do anything to help her. Like, until she asked for proof of life. And even when she asked for proof of life, when she said, just prove my daughter's alive, they said, well, you gotta wait on that 6 months.
Yeah, what the heck kind of shit is that?
It's the way they do it. They want to drag it out, make it long, make it expensive, make it complicated, just whatever they can do.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. If anybody, and I don't know how to post up on the chat box here or whatever, but if anybody would post up my Popo video for Angela Freiner.
We watched it beforehand.
We watched it at the pre-show. We watched a couple of them.
See, that's absolutely awesome, because
we put your
Popo
YouTube
video
channel in there too on the description as well, so everybody can get it there as well. I'll post the links as well afterwards.
I appreciate that a lot, man. Because YouTube keeps saying my numbers are going down. And I don't know how that's happening.
Yeah, we're getting the same kind of shit going on Facebook a lot of the time. It's like what was it? Not too long ago, when we did a 30-minute segment for Andy's upcoming hearing that previous Thursday, we got over 1K views, but yet like earlier that day we were getting comments, and then it was trying to say we had 0 reach. I'm like, get the heck out of here. We already had like 7 or 8 comments.
Well, I seen where it said no comments, but I was reading a comment.
Yeah,
right,
right. I'll just say this. I got people in my bloodline that work for the alphabet agencies, and they just tell me, John, keep on doing what you're doing. You know, like straight up, I'm a direct descendant of 2 signers of the Declaration of Independence.
There you go. See, and that's, it's that that explains why you have a lot of, I mean, I think part of that may be inherited genetic, traits.
So, some of it, like
you got an act for law, that's for damn sure.
Hey, the biggest part is that I was a co-conspirator, like straight up. When I started running hundreds of pounds of marijuana across the nation, I walked right into my attorney's office and I said, how much does this cost? And he said, well, I advise you not to do it because it's illegal and you could go to years in prison. And then I'd have to explain an awkward conversation to your dad every year we went skiing. But it'll be about 50 grand by Monday.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And I'm not going to go into any more detail than that.
Yeah, you don't need to. I think you made your point very well and clear about what you're trying to point out.
I was a co-conspirator, okay? And I'm going to ask you, Philip, like, is it illegal for you to go pay a judge 100 grand to like you on Friday when your case goes before him? Is that illegal?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's absolutely illegal. It's called bribery. Now, let me ask you this. Is it illegal for you to go and offer your attorney 10 grand or 100 grand to go pay the judge to have a good day on Friday, to get laid by his wife the night before, to get his dick sucked under the table while you come before him? Is that illegal?
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Actually, it is not illegal. And in fact, the attorney has an oath and an obligation to tell you exactly what he told me when I told him that I was going to run 100 pounds of weed across the country. And that is, he has to give you the best legal advice he can give you as his client, just like my attorney told me, well, John, I don't think you should do that. You could get arrested and spend a lot of years in prison,
Maybe the word for it is immoral rather than illegal.
Yeah.
Well, what does legal have to do with moral? I mean, you do know about slavery, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's why I was saying, so instead of saying illegal, maybe immoral, because
it's absolutely immoral. In fact, immoral is probably synonymous with unlawful. Like you hear all these people, they say, hey, that's illegal, right?
Yeah.
What they really should be saying is that's unlawful.
That's unlawful. That's right. Because all it has to do to be legal is that a legislature writes it up in a bill and an executive branch, a governor or president, whoever's in the executive branch signs it. That makes it legal. In fact, in every single state, which I'm sure this probably applies to almost everybody's situation who's listening on the call tonight, you can go and look in your state legislative books and the codified statutes. And what I would suggest if I were you and you're dealing with one of these problems is that you go and get it certified, whether it's positive law or not, which means whether the legislature actually enacted this to be enforced this way or whether they did not. Okay. But what I would do is I would ask them, okay, I'd ask them, did you guys mean to give immunity to all of the public servants like CPS, judicial officers, anybody who corroborated with you in the kidnapping of my little D-Love. Did you guys mean to do that? Will you certify that you meant to do that by that statute or not? And just see what they answer you with, you know, because you're always going to get a good answer. And these people's entire game, the entire thing they do is the judicial officer is going to say, hey, it's not my job. I didn't write the law. It's the fucking legislature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The judge has said that before.
Exactly. Well, hey, guess how you kind of cut that argument out of the equation? Well, that's funny because the legislature gave me the certified document. Kind of says you're lying.
Hey, Dottie,
Now,
you want to
I
clear
ain't going to
camera?
call you a liar because, well, you're a judicial officer wearing a funny dress as a man.
Thank you, Dottie.
Were you saying a man that wears a dress?
Yeah, the judicial officer. They go in, they wear a dress, right? They put on
They
a black
do, don't
robe,
they?
the black robe of
Yeah.
Saturn. You know?
We call them here. We call them Indiana. Here in Indiana, we call them clowns in gowns.
Clowns and gowns. I like that. I might steal that one.
Well, no problem. Well, clowns in black gowns. Wait, clowns in black gowns, to be precise.
I typically tell people, you know, like, don't feel uncomfortable walking up to a man who's so comfortable with his sexuality, he'll wear a dress every day to work. You know? I mean, come on, you got to have a certain amount of balls to do that shit.
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't know how like family appropriate this show is supposed to be. So if I'm going over the line, just let me know.
Oh, no, you're fine. We're well within the standards of having class, I believe.
I don't think there are any. Okay, well, maybe I should rephrase
So
that.
JC, after tonight, how are people going to be able to learn from you? How will they be able to get some of the knowledge you have?
Well, after tonight, you're probably only going to find it like through Ange. And Ange is what's up. She's one of my disciples right there. and then you got to go to JC, like Just Conspiracy. It's Just Conspiracy. They're kicking us off of TalkShoe. We tried opening up TalkShoe. We couldn't do anything there. I was actually thinking about moving my calls to Zoom. So I'll probably be talking to Ange's IT guy about that soon, now that I got a microphone and some stuff.
So
And
you can always hit me up anytime, JC, if you need any technical help. I'm there for you, brother.
Yeah, that's what Andrew was telling me, and I really, really appreciate it. And of course, you got to have your local guys. You got to have your not local guy. You know, you got to have people who know how to do things.
You got to have people, yeah.
Has anybody here heard of Carl Lentz?
I have not.
I haven't. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. Possibly.
So Carl Lentz is like a guru who kind of talks about the stuff that I talk about, and I had faith in him, right? And he obviously went above and beyond what he knew, but I had faith in him, so I went up to his farm up in Virginia. I was willing to do a bunch of work just so that I could get an answer on how to sue a judge. I didn't get the answer from him, but I sued the judge anyways. But why give up on a good goal?
Right. You should never give up on a good goal, especially a just one.
Right. Man, my parents ask me all the time, they're like, why haven't you quit smoking yet? And I'm like, well, because nobody likes a quitter.
Yeah, it's funny. That's what I tell everybody too. It's like, why haven't you given up yet? Well, because I'm not a quitter. That's why.
Exactly. So we non-quitters gotta stick together. But
exactly.
anyway, he opened my eyes to a lot of ideas about law, and not just mine, but a lot of other people, even though he was an a-hole, you know. But I went up there, I spent a lot of time, I spent a lot of energy, and I decided for myself that most people would be better off paying attorneys. You know, they would get fucked a little bit better by attorneys. They'd at least get a little more grease than they would with him.
Right.
So, you know, I learned law through a law library. I learned law because I used to run an organization running tons of marijuana across the country. You know, I learned law through case law. I did not learn law on the internet through sovereign citizen bullshit. So
Yeah, because that sovereign citizen bullshit is the card they seem to be liking to play now.
Yeah, and what go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay, one thing also I'd like to add is that marijuana used to be legal everywhere, and there's definite reasons why they made it illegal. In fact, there's U.S. patents for marijuana.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That I
If
think
anybody
I sent
looks
it
at
to
the
you,
history, you'll
Stephen.
find this to be true.
Well, if not, I can just post it right here. I'll be right back.
All right,
Yeah,
sounds good.
they actually have codes. Like if you go far enough back, they got codes saying that you had to grow so much marijuana for the hemp.
Now people sit in jail for it.
What was you'd be familiar with Mac? Remember during the Nixon administration when that whole thing, that the war against drugs started because he thought the hippies were a threat. Wasn't that what wasn't is that accurate? An accurate assessment of that, basically?
Well, I don't know if he thought hippies were a threat. It was mind-altering substances. This is why, like, you could get life in prison for selling 10 hits of LSD, you know, but you got to have 2 to 3 ounces of cocaine before you get life in prison. And of course, they've come down on that because of the whole Black Lives Matters and this, that, and the other. But the basic principle is that they do not wish for people to take mind expanding substances.
All right, I got those links. I think we should share them, the ones that Jen was talking about, at least a couple.
Yes, and there's one there that you have to kind of like back out of a little bit because I think I hit a space or something, and it's pretty important because it talks about
why in this
the secret surrounding. It's the secret the big secret surrounding the patent.
This is exactly why I'm trying to help this gentleman out in Colorado. Okay, so back in October, and Oracle can attest to this because she was down here hanging out with me for my birthday. She was going to take me out because she's awesome like that. And I got a call from out in California. It was on October 16th because it was my birthday. How could I forget? And this woman and her husband, their house, and they have my personal cell phone number. They just got raided. And the cops are going around their neighborhood and literally printing out administrative warrants straight from their freaking cop car. I crap you not. Okay. And of course they didn't get charged because what I said, what I would do, because I don't give legal advice, just so everybody knows. I don't give legal advice. But what I said I would do is I would write to the prosecutor and say, hey, you're either going to prosecute me or you're going to give me all my property back. You know, because you just ripped it out of the ground. There's only so much time it can have to hang around before I can start trimming it to get it ready for production. Right? Right, Ange? You know what's up. So, anyways, this is what I told them to do. And nobody would do anything because they didn't actually get charged. Everybody was afraid of facing the criminal charge. And this homie I got maybe from Colorado, we're working on it, but I think he's going to be down for the fold. And he got charged and he was just selling legal weed to legal medical dispensaries. And in the county that he's in Colorado, I'm just going to say this. If you rolled the dice 50-50 chance, you had all the evidence from the DEA saying he was selling to somebody who was trafficking into South Carolina, a jury would only convict 50% of the time. And the only reason I know that is because of the research I used to do. In fact, the jury would probably convict less today than they would when I was doing that research. Because when I was doing that research, it was before my son was born, and my son's 10 years old.
Doesn't look like it's letting us access this one article, Jen. Hold on.
What is it doing?
The Denver Post one. No, it's not letting us access it. Hold on. Let me try something. A little trick I learned.
Where's Oracle?
No. What are you
I'm
trying
here.
to pull up?
Hey, Oracle.
Hi, JC.
How's your weekend been?
All right,
Pretty exciting.
We're gonna do this another way so that our viewers can see what I'm doing. This is how you can bypass these little freaking pop-ups and get your articles for free.
He's like, screw the NSA.
Hey, this is a public domain knowledge. Just say anything anybody can't figure out on their own. They look.
He's like, I'm just gonna give you guys a shortcut. Screen record,
Wow.
screen record.
I wish I would have had this before, because I wouldn't have had to pay for the articles I got.
I've done it a few times on a couple of the shows, but sometimes you can, like, if you can stop this page if it's loading the JavaScript, it'll bypass it. But you got to be quick about it.
Yeah, I'm
Sometimes
with
it
the
don't.
man.
New
I never
York
pay
Post,
for
the
anything.
New York Times, it works on that one really well, doing the refresh option. But yeah, there's ways around that.
Hey, Ange.
Yeah.
I might have a computer going to our man.
But we'll do this
I might
one
have
later.
another computer coming back to you.
Oh, that would be awesome. That'd be
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
But you're gonna have to produce graphics.
Okay.
And I do have a video somewhere, but I don't. I gotta go find it. On the whole thing with the legalization of marijuana and the U.S. government. So, but let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
Well, I mean, like here's the best measure to measure the morality of something. And that is it legal? Like, let me just go ahead and say this. Do you vote?
I do not.
No, I did it one time, but at this point, I don't see the point.
Did it one time? No,
I used to. I no longer vote.
I was actually asking Jennifer, but Jennifer, do you vote?
No, I don't.
Okay, do you know what the right of voting is? Does anybody on the call know what the right of voting is?
No.
Go ahead and explain it for us and for our viewers.
It is the right of suffrage. Okay. Because when you vote on a government, you have the right to suffer under the government that you voted on. All right. So one of my homeboys, he freaking called me up. He was in such distress after the 2020 election. He lived in Florida. And his homeboy was a Bernie Sanders fan. And he was really pushing him to vote, and it didn't matter what he voted for because the Democratic Party already had that shit on lock, girl.
Yeah.
And
I think it's pretty obvious to everyone at this point that was
right. Well, I mean, but it wasn't so obvious to him and his friend at that moment in time.
Right. And I think that a lot of people were duped. I mean,
a lot of people were duped. So anyways, he calls me with this problem and I go, what state do you live in? You live in Florida. I go and I search up Florida Constitution and it was Article 2, the right of suffrage. And I'm like, look, man, just send your friend this link to Article 2, the right of suffrage, and just let your buddy know that you don't wish for him to suffer anymore. You know, like, you have given up suffering. You have walked away from the suffrage.
Check this out. I brought up the actual link when I put it to the right to vote, what you were just talking about for our viewers. Suffrage is from Wikipedia, people. Okay, suffrage, political franchise, or simply franchise, is the right to vote in public political election. Although the term is sometimes used for any right to vote in some languages and occasionally in English, the right to vote is called active suffrage, as distinct from passive suffrage, which is the right to stand for election. The combination of active and passive suffrage is sometimes called full suffrage.
And this is exactly where they get their consent of the governed from. Okay, like what he was just talking about, and with the last election and what everybody saw with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. You know.
Oh, you mean Brandon, yeah. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go.
Let's go, Brandon.
Joe Biden. Anyways, my bad.
He's hiding now, that's for damn sure.
Man, I could get kicked out of my house. I live in a democratic house. And I love my parents. Like, hey, without them, you guys couldn't hear me. So, you know, like
Right.
People from both sides of the aisle, they're fed up.
They
right?
are, and it's not just one side or the other. There's both sides, because people see now what the heck's going on, and that our whole system has been hijacked, and people are fed up. You're right, absolutely right. And it doesn't matter what political side of the political spectrum we fall on. We as citizens have all suffered at the hands of these tyrants, and it's time that it stops now.
Hey, I talk to my parents all the time about how to get Republican voters to go Democrat. Because right now, Oracle and I are in a position to put a person who will probably not be elected as the Democrat or the Republican primary. Is it a Republican primary, Oracle?
Yes.
So we're trying to help somebody who probably will not succeed in the Republican primary to be elected to office. And in fact, I got a very, very large hope for this because we can grab the Democratic vote. You know, but it all depends on, it's all willing and dealing. I used to sell votes by the thousands on the street. You know, it gives me a very different perspective. The streets I come from are much more conservative. And I was actually working for Obama.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Ain't that the kicker there, huh?
Dude, I believed in the hope and change. I was
I did too. I did too. I bought into all that shit too. And then like, just looking at their actions, what they actually did, it's like, what the heck?
Oh, dude, I didn't fall for it a second time. I wasn't one of these George Bush motherfuckers. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. I was like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, ain't gonna happen.
Right.
How many different Bushes were there anyway? I mean, it was just like they wouldn't stop.
Two.
Yeah, you had Bush Senior, you had Bush Junior. Bush Senior was put into place by his father. Okay.
Yeah, he was daddy's boy.
Yeah, it was just like Bush Jr. And it was very much like a Rothschild's backdoor behind the scenes, except that his father came in about 100 years earlier and helped some people out with the tire industry. Okay, that's how they got into oil. And one of my girlfriends, her boyfriend, after we broke up, got in this dissertation with me to where I had to like argue my points out in an argument. He didn't think, because when I sold all of this weed, I did it in college because nobody could imagine how much weed you could sell in an American college. But anyways, that's how much weed I sold. So I created a whole dissertation, like a college level performance essay subject matter on the Bush family. Okay, and Bush Senior's dad married into a Rothschild family, and they got all of their money from the entire oil industry, and boom, Bush's dad gets into presidency from the CIA and the secrets he kept with the JFK assassination. This is all hypothetical at this point.
Skull and Bones?
Do what?
I said Skull and Bones.
What about Skull and Bones?
Is that what you're talking about? The secret society?
Well, I know what she's talking about. I've heard that the same thing, that they were members of Skull and Bones, and that plays partly into that.
That's just one
being
of the
part of that
secret
1%
societies.
club, so to speak.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not gonna argue it. I will actually, in fact, tell you that they were Skull and Bones. Okay. And in fact, like, you can go back. I even have saved on some of my hard drives around here. You can't find it on YouTube anymore. But where CBS went and investigated Skull and Bones, 322, okay, March 22nd. But that's the order of Skull and Bones. Is
I think I remember that video.
Yeah.
Well,
and so
wasn't that the one that Alex Jones went undercover as well, and he went into there, and he was the only one that
no, Alex Jones went undercover out to the Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, Bohemian Grove. Yeah.
Okay, but I think that was connected to Skull and I'm not sure.
The Bohemian Grove is connected to Skull and Bones. It's very loose. It's very conspiratorial. I don't go there because I don't wish to be looked at as a nuthead.
I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to touch the surface of it. We can move on now.
Hey, I don't care. You know, like I personally do not care. On this show where I can be free and I don't have to be family sensitive and all of that other bullshit, I don't give a fuck. Okay.
No,
you don't have to.
We're all about free speech and non-censorship in all forms.
Well, I'm just saying, on my show, I would appreciate if everybody, left out fuck and shit and all that other goddamn stuff.
Well, of course, it's on a case-by-case basis, of course.
Exactly.
Case by case.
But anyways, while we're here and we're being really free with it, look, yeah, I mean, you go up to Bohemian Grove and they're all paid to keep their mouth shut. In fact, they're all paid so well, they will tell you straight up. I couldn't believe when I saw the documentaries. They'll tell you straight up, they'll be like, I'm paid to tell you nothing.
Oh, wow.
I was like, God damn. You just said it all right there, because I'm going to give you a little secret right here. Do you know when an attorney's lying?
How?
Philip, you know when an attorney's lying?
How? When is an attorney lying?
Their lips are moving. Do you know when?
Oh, yeah.
When the,
lawyer, liar. Yeah.
Exactly. you want to know the other way you know an attorney's lying?
What's the other way?
Their lips aren't moving. It's sin of omission and the sin of admission.
Yep.
Okay? It's the I'm telling you by telling you, and I'm telling you by not telling you.
Yep.
So that means that they're lying all the time then.
Yeah, and?
That's right.
Yeah. Just saying, I mean, it's they're lying if their lips aren't moving, and they're lying when their lips are moving, then they lie all the time when they go into court.
Yeah, take a hint.
And then they become the judges.
Pick a number.
They do. They do become the judges in some cases too, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
No, hey, that's the administrative shit, okay?
Right.
Like, this is the spot where we, the people, because everybody looks at the Constitution and they're like, we the people, right? Like, everybody, come on, everybody on this call has looked at the Constitution and they're like, we the people. But you didn't understand the people was capitalized, did you?
No, nor did you understand that it was changed. Wasn't it changed when Lincoln did the Gettysburg Address?
Nope. But we the people was capitalized. I can sit here and say I'm one of the we the people. That's why they won't put a bullet in the back of my head when I'm asleep at night.
That's reassuring.
Okay? That and the guy who might happen to creep up the stairs to put the bullet in the back of my head, he knows I could be froggy. Because I'm froggy. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, when they say we the people, go and look at the word people, it's capitalized. They meant my posterity. They did not mean yours.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yes, they were speaking of a specific people, and the people that they were specifically talking about were the people of the United States. And the people of the United States that they were specifically talking about at that point in time consisted of the people in Congress, the people that signed the Constitution, because the United States is just a figment of your fucking imagination.
Corporation.
A corporation's just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, we could easily take it back and rebuild something new. We don't need to. We just got to start participating in these freaking damn systems, giving our consent away and giving our power away.
And in fact, when I open up Save the Slave with Angela Freiner, we're creating a private society. Okay, we're doing the same thing that they were doing with the Declaration of Independence. We're just doing it differently because, well, today we got the internet and they didn't have the internet back then.
Exactly. That's tool, the powerful tool that we had that they didn't.
So, but the main fact is when you get back to English, Jennifer, is that even when they said we the people, they were speaking of a specific people, and it was the people who were signing the contract that they were getting into as the States United. Okay, let me reverse this because it's really difficult for people to understand when you say United States, right? Because everybody understands United States, and they understand United States as united being capitalized. And united cannot be capitalized because it's a descriptive word. So the only way that unite could be capitalized is if it's a proper noun. Okay. And this is why I like to say the States United, is because the states are a proper noun. They're capitalized as a proper noun, and then they're united as a descriptive word. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense now.
Okay. Well, and I would just wish to say, if any of the shit spewing out of my mouth does not make sense, somebody please tell me.
No, it makes perfect sense. As far as the language and then the how it ties into the actual meaning, no, it makes perfect sense.
And the
that's the kind of subtle tricks that are used a lot of the time.
I'm just saying, if it doesn't make sense, most people don't have the backbone to raise their hand and say, hey, I didn't understand that.
No, it made perfect sense to us.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying that if it doesn't make sense, I really wish for people to say it doesn't make sense, because I will explain it differently.
Oh yeah, no,
I will explain it however many ways I have to explain it for you to understand it, because my great grandfather wrote the book, The People's Right to Know.
Oh,
okay.
Neat.
Yeah, so my last name's Cross. Everybody should know my last name's Cross. So it was not Malcolm Cross, it was Harold Cross. Harold Cross, because Malcolm, actually, I'm going to leave that out of this conversation. Anyways, Harold Cross. Yeah, Harold Cross wrote the book for NYC Law University, okay, on the people's right to know. And that is the book that they use today for your right for the Freedom of Information Act. Okay, so I get all these people calling me up trying to get in touch with me saying, hey, how do I get this? And I'm like, well, you just write this to this person. They say, well, I did that, but they told me I couldn't have it. Well, how did you do it? Under a Freedom of Information request. Well, see, it's not a Freedom of Information request because that's made for the media to watch the government. That's made for the fourth branch of government to watch the government. Philip, you know what I'm talking about with the fourth branch of government, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you explain that to people for a moment? I got to step away. I'll be right back.
All right. I think what he's talking about is the the right of the how back in the day was the press was supposed to keep like, for example, it's supposed to keep the courts and and the other branches in check if they're out of line. That's why we had freedom of press, basically. I believe that's what he was talking about, right, Dottie?
Right, and that they could come in and they could record and document court hearings and whatnot. And then when they don't allow that to happen, they start doing what they've done to me, and those are star chambers.
Right, exactly. But initially, the freedom of the press set up for that very purpose, to keep the government in check in case they got out of line. And now what we're witnessing is they're doing it anyway, and blocking media motions and star chambering court hearings. It's ridiculous. They've gone completely off the rails.
Well, it was a way to keep the courts honest. There's, especially in family court, you don't have a jury. It's just, like in my last hearing, it was me and everybody else that was against me, the judge,
they wouldn't even let Kyle in, would they?
No. I was the only one in the courtroom. I was denied an advocate. When I tried to get an advocate, they denied me. So I was just there, it was me against them.
They would not let Kyle come in the courtroom. Why? What did they say?
No, I called him for a witness, so they wouldn't let him in. But after he testified, I don't see why he couldn't come into the courtroom. But yeah, they usually would let him in, but this time they did not.
Wow.
So
was it only your case? Only your case being heard? They got everybody else out, huh?
Yeah, it was just it was, and then from the beginning they did that. Every hearing I had, I was always the last one in the courtroom to be seen, never on the docket. And then they would, since February 2020, they were bullying me, threatening to take my daughter from me. They started a year prior to them actually taking her. They started threatening me with that. So it just became where it was I was worried anything I did or said, they were going to take my kid from me, living in fear. So I can't, prosper, because that's all that happens when you live in fear. You can't grow.
Yep.
And that's how they had me and Delilah. We were just, they took over. We were at their mercy, basically. They had control of our lives. That's how I felt.
Yep.
And they still do. I'm waiting for them to tell me if I have rights to my own kid.
Yeah, what kind of shit is that usually? What's it been? Almost been 2 weeks now. hasn't it?
Over all this unlawful crap that we've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And they're
sorry, I just jumped in the middle of the situation, but I'm gonna say it like this, dude, with that video I made about Angela Freiner, the Popo video, back in the old day, it would have been settled right then. It would have been, you don't have an executable order to take this girl from our neighbor.
Right.
I hope you got a good God.
Right.
You're about to meet him pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, well, they used to stick up and protect their own. I don't know, somehow we've given the permission to the government to do it.
No, I mean, hey, it's this simple. It's okay. No, I haven't seen.
I would think when I was a kid, I would want my parents to not let anybody take me.
Hey, I haven't seen the executable order that Angela Freiner doesn't have.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I had an imagination, I could imagine that it didn't have a clerk's signature on it.
It did not. And I can testify to that because I've seen the order.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you for seeing the order. I think we've all seen the order that's on the call right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying that that's one element that if an executive officer would have been going out to serve that warrant or that order with, if they didn't see that element on the document itself, they wouldn't have gone out and served it or tried to serve it or try to issue it. And the reason they wouldn't have done that is because they would have gotten shot in the fucking face.
Yep, there's an unlawful order. Because it was never.
No, I mean, I got something I tell to the people around here. Like in my neck of the woods, if I go and drop my kid off at school, they ask me, hey, where's his freaking, what's that shit they ask for? Vaccine. Where's his vaccine status? You know what I tell them? I'll go get it as soon as you give me a warrant. The moment you give me a warrant to look into my son, my private sunshine, my private light of my world situation, as soon as you give me that warrant, I will be happy to run down and get that warrant or get that information for you. Until you give me that warrant, well, I live in South Carolina and we all carry a gun. Look, down here, I'm going to be real frank with it. Like, I'll have a concealed carry permit. Okay. I don't have the government licensing me to tell me I got the right to protect myself.
Right.
Down here, we got a saying.
We have an open carry law here. You can carry your shit on you as long as it's not concealed. And you're good to
We
go.
don't have an open carry law here. But what we do have is we have a society full of people that says, and this is a common saying, you could go up and ask about anybody, okay? And that is, it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Fuck you. And your warrant and the fucking piece of paper you got to come get my child. If you come to get my little joy of sunshine, I hope that paper's bulletproof.
Right. It damn well better be bulletproof.
Hey, even if it's bulletproof, I got the green tips to go through that motherfucker, all right?
There you go.
I'll solve that problem, but I hope it's bulletproof at first.
But people don't do that. They give their kids over to them.
Hey, all I'm saying is anybody worth shooting once is worth shooting twice.
Yeah, it's just.
Can I get an amen?
Oh, yeah. Amen. Amen on that, for sure.
Amen, brother.
That's what Buddha said. Anybody worth shooting once is worth shooting twice.
I think it's sad how people have just delegated their power away over to a perceived higher authority, because it's just like this higher authority supposedly does not looking out for people's best interest, and people have been tricked and they've been conditioned to believe that
how many people get their kids taken with an unlawful order? It probably happens a ton. Like, they just didn't get my kid because I just wasn't handing her over. Otherwise, they would have took her, and it would have been unlawful. They shouldn't have taken her. So they do this probably all the time. Like, probably most of them aren't even lawful.
No, yeah, I would not be surprised at all. I mean, like I mean, with your case for sure, we saw that it was not signed, clear as day.
Right, and I still don't have my daughter because of this unlawful order that I proved in court, and they still haven't done anything.
Yeah, they just ignored everything.
This is why everybody should be scared. Like, rich people are talking about 2030, you'll learn nothing and be happy.
This goes right into it.
Yeah. This is the way that they're doing it through these systems right now, people. That's what they're trying to do, so that they can, they're seizing people's lands, they're taking people's property, they're taking people's kids. This is one of the ways that they're going to try and transition to
Just Conspiracy. We are documenting it every single step of the way, because I used to be a co-conspirator, and Oh no, as a co-conspirator, I didn't mind so much like just hitting somebody with a pistol upside their head. Not outside the realm of possibilities for my days of waking up when I was a co-conspirator. And then I had a son and my entire life changed.
That will always change one's entire life. It really does, doesn't it?
It will always change. Anyways, I got a sister-in-law who is requiring my aid and assistance right now. She's pulled over with her girlfriend on the side of the road. I don't care what any of y'all think about gay marriage, but here's my take on it. They got the right to be just as unhappy as the rest of us.
Hey, I mean, I got no problem with, if people are people, people have a right to be themselves. I do agree with that.
So, but I do have to go answer her. She was going to testify on my behalf. She never had to, but
yeah,
respect.
We had a great show. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark since we started the live. So we had a great show today. What do you think, Dottie?
Thanks for coming on, JC.
Dottie, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And hey, let's do some more. Like I said,
oh yeah,
talk shoes shut me down. We gotta move to another program.
And yeah,
I gotta move to another program. There's no we about it. I
happy
gotta
to help
move to
you
another program
with any technical expertise you need or any kind of whatever. We got you.
That's wonderful.
All right, take care.
Do something.
Yeah, definitely. We should definitely start, collaborating more together for sure.
And make people accountable.
Yep.
We got your back, homie.
Hey, first thing first in front of the road, and that is program to be had. Like I feel like I've been unanimously kicked off my old program. Whatever. I saw it coming. So, but I gotta go somewhere.
You gotta move forward, man. You can't let those kind of things get you down.
You don't let nothing get you down, brother.
Nope.
No.
Can't afford to. Too much is at stake.
Way too much is at stake. Hey, thank you for inviting me on. I'm sorry I forgot until Oracle, like I tried calling Oracle. And by the grace of God, she was like, hey,
that's Oracle.
Ange had a show for you. So
that's how she was. I was like, thank God for you, because I cannot find JC.
Hey, sometimes I just be ghost like that.
I know.
Well, I know I've had to do that a few times just to gather my thoughts.
Thank you, Angie.
Yeah, then she comes save the day like always. Oh.
Yes.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate you, Oracle. I appreciate you being there when I called you so that you could bring me to this glorious show.
You're welcome.
I really do. And I don't wish for anybody to think anything different.
Amen.
Amen. Thank
Son
you,
of
JC,
man.
for coming on.
Son of man. Not amen.
That's right.
Not men. Son of man. That nobody accused the man of being amen.
Oh, I never really thought about
They
it.
all go back and read the New Testament.
Okay.
They all said that you're the son of God. He said, nope. I'm the son of man. He didn't say, nope, amen.
Interesting.
That's not what the man said. He said, nope. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's how important words are.
Yeah.
And that we don't even know what they are.
What did he do before the motherfuckers? He sat down and he drew symbols. Symbols. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
No worries.
No.
It's been great having you, JC. You're fine.
Hey, thank you all.
Nice meeting you, JC.
I'm sorry, I gotta hop off here.
Yeah, we know. It's all right. We'll have you back on it real soon, definitely.
Hey, maybe you could just host a show for me.
We could do that.
All right, I'm gonna put you in touch.
I'd be
with my
definitely
man
be down
Monarch.
to help you with that. No problem.
I'm gonna put you in touch with my man Monarch.
Alrighty.
All right.
Sounds good.
I appreciate it.
Anytime, anytime.
Love the energy. Love the energy.
Yes, you gotta love it. Tyler's here, man.
Love all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, JT.
My cat's biting my toes.
Your cat is biting your toes?
Yes.
Well, I just thank you guys.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because remember
on.
yesterday when we were on Zoom trying to get ready for the show, Crystal's cat, whose name is Asshole, by the way, tricked her.
He's never done that before. I think that's their way of telling you that they love you and that they
right.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just love nibbles.
Yeah, I mean, but it just, he's never done it. He's rolling all over it. So he's never done that before, not to me.
All right, everybody. It's been a great night, and we're gonna wrap it up for the night. So thank you for joining us, and we will be back next Sunday on the Sacred Lovisa.
Yeah, thank you.
And news for us and a few others. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
thank you.
Stephen. Good night, Dottie. Good night, Jennifer.
Thank you for jumping on, Oracle.
Of course, always. God bless everybody.
God bless.
Bye.